Hello all.
Hello.
We're back.
Back.
And we've got an echo somewhere. What I do. Let us know if there's an echo in the chat for you. But we've got 3 new people today. Cody, May, and Cassiy. Let us know in the chat if you know them. And we'll probably start off with introducing everyone. Maybe we'll go ladies first. Who wants to go?
Cassiy.
May, go ahead.
No, blondes go first.
Oh, okay. I did go blonder last week, so it's me. So hi, my name is Cassiy Johnson. I've been doing print on demand for 4.5 years now, I think. So, you know, kind of a newbie, depending on who you're talking to, but a veteran, depending on if you're talking to other people. So happy to be here. I have a YouTube channel where I teach print on demand and Etsy mostly. Etsy is what I teach. And yeah, I'm just glad to be here. I got to meet Philip in Dallas last month. So that was really fun. We got to meet in person, and Cody. Cody was there as well. So that was a real good time. So just happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. And what about you, May?
I want to say that cheers from Greece. My neighbors here. Hi, I'm May Aroyo. For those of you who don't know how to pronounce my last name. In Bulgaria, I almost met Philip, but I had the disease that shall not be named on YouTube just when you were in town. I've been doing print on demand since 2017, I think. But I was doing like affiliating for e-commerce a lot before that. And YouTube for almost 4 years now. Print on demand, digital downloads, and mostly letting my shiny new thing syndrome decide my content.
Shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, you guys are like so committed to like a specific content thing, and I just like open the camera whenever I want to babble on something and like share some stuff online.
I feel very all over the place. I don't know.
It's like the AI guy, right? You're like
That's
the
what
AI
people-
prompt.
That's what people say, but I feel like my content's all over the place.
No.
Cassie's very Etsy focused. And Cody, you've never been on my channel either. Quick intro.
Happy to be here. Yeah, I'm Cody, founder and CEO of Everbee. Some of you guys have used Everbee or heard of Everbee in the past, primarily on Etsy, but a lot of Amazon sellers use us as well. A lot of just Shopify or other e-commerce sellers use Everbee. We crossed over 700,000 users across the world recently, so it's like
700,000. That's crazy.
Insane. Yeah, super happy to be here. Hanging out with friends, hanging out with people talking business. It's like my world, my love, my passion.
It's a perfect opportunity later when we do a Q&A for anyone who's got questions about Everbee or suggestions. You can put them in the chat. Got some Cassiy fans. Is it streaming to your channel? We were trying to set it up so it's streaming to Cassie's channel as well.
I think it should be.
I think it says live, yeah. So anyone who's come over from Cassie's channel, just to briefly explain how this works, it's a live stream format. Usually goes about an hour to 2 hours, and we talk about some general like POD news or topics. Like we'll talk about PRINTIFY, PRINTFUL today, the merge, and then we'll do a Q&A. So we'll answer some of your questions. We've now also set up a fundraiser, or I've tried to set it up for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. I think it's like a cancer research fundraiser, and the idea behind that is if you want a guarantee that your question gets answered, you can donate, because those get highlighted, I think, and then it's going towards a good cause as well. I think Carla suggested that last time, and I think it's a great idea, so we're trying that out this time. And we also do some shop reviews, so we'll post a link in the chat shortly where you can submit your it could be an Etsy store, it could be TeePublic, Shopify, Redbubble, whatever you want. You could submit your shop, and later on we'll review a few of them, give you feedback and suggestions. So yeah, happy to have you here. We've got over 100 viewers. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome.
The merger, yeah, people want to hear more about the merger. I have not looked into it at all, so I think, May, you've had a very long video about it.
I've had I was gonna call it a night and like chill, and then I got an email from my contact on PRINTFUL, and I wasn't really sure, if you're allowed to talk about it or not. And then I noticed that it was also published in the PRINTFUL Insider group. They actually opened now a new post in the PRINTFUL Insider group just for Q&A, and I also saw this on TechCrunch, so it's like completely public information. after speaking with him, he did tell me that some of the information was incorrect. For example, they were talking about the fact that Printify generated like it's approximate 500,000 sales per month, when in fact it's more like 1.5 million per month. Like he sent me some of the numbers, and I've already spoken with my Printful contact in a very long conversation, and with the Printify contact a very long conversation. And for everyone who's like, why are they doing this before the holidays? It's not going to affect the holidays. The effect, like for anyone selling with these platforms, the effect is going to be felt if any in this year. Like it's not going to affect as fast as people think, because both platforms are keeping their different their different platforms. They're both keeping it. And mostly from my conversation with David from Printify, he said like basically the point of it is to learn from each other, because a lot of times if you're competing with a company, then they're doing something like this and you want to compete with them, then you need to learn how to do that. But maybe in the future, if Printify decides they want to do in-house printing, they have Printful to literally ask questions and decide and like see how it's done. Or if Printful wants to onboard another supplier, they can already check with Printify what suppliers are good for onboarding, and of course the whole share of information. So in theory, let's say Printful wants to onboard a product, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand how much it takes to onboard an in-house made product. So let's say Printful will decide they want to see what product they want to upload or integrate into their fulfillment centers. They can have information from Printify on what is being sold most by Printify to know to integrate that specific product. And of course, it might also be possible in the future that Printful, because they fulfill themselves, will be a supplier on Printify. But everything is up in the air. People still don't know what's going on. The merger is not even yet finalized. It's supposed to be finalized in the next 2 weeks. And I feel like a lot of people were saying, Printful is like taking over Printify, or this is taking over this. It's not a buyout. None of the companies are buying each other.
Okay.
It's a full merger. Both CEOs are staying on position. All co-founders, I think, like posted some really funny stuff over on LinkedIn about this. And I feel like a lot of them, like they're both in Latvia. Majority of them are in Latvia. And I feel like a lot of people got scared because it's now, but nothing is coming into effect now. The fear, I guess, for a lot of people was, what if they're going to be one company and it's going to be one platform? What happens to all of the designs that are already integrated, to everything that I already did? Even if that will happen, it's not planned anytime soon.
Okay, so it's more like a joining of forces rather than one.
Look at TeePublic and
one new thing.
Redbubble. TeePublic and Redbubble are both owned by the same company, and I'm not even comparing the quality of those companies or the morality of those companies. But TeePublic was acquired by Redbubble, and it's still its own like platform. It doesn't mean that your designs automatically moved somewhere, or that you need to have like it's one user. They're both different companies. And even if you look at their business decisions, TeePublic dropped notebooks, Redbubble didn't. And yes, they both launched the tier system. I do know a lot of people, like I had like a long list of questions. I'm still like narrowing down from like the initial video I've done, and also from my group, and sending all of these questions to both the Printify and Printful, as well as Fourth Wall, because a lot of the questions were about Fourth Wall. And then I will have a video after discussing all of the questions with all of them, like just give the update. But generally speaking, the main answer would be nothing is going to happen to your stores this time of year. If people are still uploading, the systems both work the same. Behind the scenes, it's one family. And I feel like, again, looking at Redbubble and TeePublic is a good example. And as for people who are talking about cost is going to go up, because this was also brought up even when I did the live, it was like people were throwing up the word monopoly. So I asked David from Printify, he was like, no, we actually passed with flying colors the regulatory process in the United States to not be a monopoly. And I feel like for a lot of people, like, Printify and Printful, yeah, but there are so many other print-on-demand companies that there is no chance that this is a monopoly. Like, I think Amazon Merch does more than both of these companies together. Probably. So it's not a monopoly. And for people who are talking about the prices of everything is going to rise, well, the prices of everything is going to rise regardless.
Yeah.
T-shirt prices in some fulfillments rose last month. But if you look at the cost of living rising or the cost of food, it's nothing compared to the rise in percentages of clothes. companies raise their prices regardless of a merge, regardless of changing leadership, regardless of anything. So I'm pretty sure that, yeah, prices are going to rise in the next 2 years, regardless of anything, because they just go up. Electricity went up, gas went up, costs of everything go up. That's it. And I feel like it's not a big deal to get excited about. I mean, it is exciting news. And it was also in the Latvian news, by the way, last night, because both of those are Latvian companies. I think that I would be much more worried if I was like an employee of a company that's about to go through a merger. But I was like talking to my contact and I was like, are you staying as my contact? And they're both saying, we're keeping separate YouTube channels. We're keeping like, it's still a different system. And if you guys love Printful, work with Printful. If you love Printify, work with Printify. That's it.
Yeah, I was also thinking Printify has literally just updated its branding. Like if they were going to literally become the same thing, why would they have just updated their branding? You know,
they have actually been working on this branding for a year, I think, or something.
Yeah. Did you get to
realize they did?
Well, they did like focus groups last year for the new branding, and so I thought they decided not to do it. I was like, it's been so long. I guess they're not rebranding. But yeah, I thought that was pretty silly that the rebrand came through and then they announced the merger as well. So I think it's all going to be really interesting. I think it's important to remember, if you're watching this as just a print-on-demand seller, that nothing's ever as bad as it might seem. You know, I always love listening to my friend Angel from the channel Passive Income Angel. She always says, we'll see. And that's what she really adopts when anything happens, which with print on demand space, there's always something going on. Some sky is falling every few months, you know, it feels like, but everything's always fine and it's always going to be fine. We just have to make slight pivots, slight adjustments, learn a new software, but it's always going to keep moving forward. Like print on demand's not going anywhere. Printify and Printful and what they offer and the things that you like about them aren't going anywhere. Is what it's going to look like change in the next year or two? Maybe, but it's all going to be fine. But I do think it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out because they each have their individual strengths. You know, the only thing I use Printful for is embroidery. I've been sitting waiting on bated breath for the last year for Printify to get embroidery. And they finally did, and it's only the pocket of a sweatshirt, which is nice. Don't get me wrong, but I wonder now.
Like this, you mean on the entire sweatshirt?
Yeah, May's wearing embroidery. Practice makes faster.
May's wearing the Gildan 18,000 by Printful. Embroidered. It's actually really brilliant.
It doesn't look embroidered from here, but I believe you.
I'm gonna try and like.
Wait, well, let me put you center stage. Wait, there's a way to do that. There we go.
Yeah, I'm very well aware of my nails at this moment, but yeah, I think like embroidery is just awesome because of the white colors and the vivid colors, especially. Even if you compare it to DTFX, the colors are completely different.
I have a Printful embroidery item next to me as well.
Aww.
That's cool.
Yeah. This is adorable.
Yeah, cute little design. Don't worry, it's covered in dog hair, you know, but yeah.
A realistic product review covered with dog hair. Mine is covered with my lipstick.
So did you, when you went to Printify Amp, did they talk about this there as well, like behind the scenes?
No, we didn't get any inside scoop. Yeah, for anyone who is watching that didn't know, I had the absolute pleasure of flying to Latvia in September to go to their Printify Amplified event. It was a live event with a bunch of other YouTubers. I got to meet a bunch of the Printify employees. They treated me really well. Latvia is just gorgeous. And right down the road, you can just see the gigantic Printful building. Right from Printify's headquarters. And so it is really funny to hear that they are now connecting and conjoining in some way. But no, there was no hints. We didn't get any insider knowledge. But it was really interesting getting to go to the headquarters there and meet a lot of the employees.
Awesome.
I want to share a little bit too on the merger.
Yeah, go
on. Before we jump off topic, I think it's a good thing. I think people should try to look at situations like this and try to find the opportunity and try to find the positives that this could possibly bring. Too often we get sucked into like, what if this happened? What if this happened? And it scares us, and which is natural. But there's always opportunity when like this chaotic environment happens. Like there's always an opportunity. And I would encourage everybody looking at this merger deal is look for the opportunity. Printful and Printify are massive companies that are very, very successful, and you don't become very successful like this without caring about your customer and thinking about them first. They don't do deals like this to hurt the customer, to just get bigger profits. I mean, certainly they think about those things as a business, but they don't ever want to gouge a customer and just like combine forces and like raise prices. That wouldn't be good for their brand. It wouldn't be good for their business long term. They don't think about things like this. I don't believe. I don't know those founders, but I could tell you, founder of Everbee, that's just typically how founders typically think, and CEOs and executives of these bigger companies usually merge like this to benefit the customer at the end of the day. And you also get some of that benefit yourself as a company, but at the end of the day, it serves the customers. So I think it's a good thing. I believe that Printify and Printful will find a way to make this a very, very beneficial thing for the entire market.
Yeah,
I agree. I think if it was like, again, if it was a buyout, then you start getting suspicious, because when Redbubble bought TeePublic, and the minute Redbubble did the tier system, everybody was looking to see if TeePublic are going to do something similar or the same, because they're both managed by the same actual company. But it was a buyout, so one of them has the power. It's the same when Facebook bought Instagram. But there is no buyout now. It's a collaboration. I was making a joke about, were they just sitting around for coffee, being like high school friends and going like, well, people confuse our names all the time, maybe we should just merge. I feel like it's just a natural thing that happened. And again, from our perspective as sellers, we're not going to feel the difference for many months at all. And I feel like if we are going to feel the difference, it's going to be by choice. Like, if you will feel the difference, it's going to be because Printify will decide again to add Printful as a supplier, or Printful will decide to add some products from Printify. But it's going to be your choice if you want to adapt one of the other's companies. Because even when I was talking to them, quick stores of Printful is not going anywhere. Printify's pop-up shops are not going anywhere. But maybe they would learn from each other, because currently, if you want to do the quick stores on Printful, it's only available for Americans. Yeah. Where for Printify, you can be from multiple geographies. So maybe it's just a benefit thing at the end.
I think at Printful too, it will give Printful a big advantage for sure. Well, both of them at the end of the day. But if you think about Printful's business, they are in-house print on demand, the majority, right? They do most of their manufacturing themselves, and they have a disadvantage of speed to market with a new product, and because it takes so much investment to invest in a new product line. Now they have Printify, they don't have the manufacturing cost, the setup time, the investment of all the products. So now Printful gets the benefit from, hey, who are your guys' leaders, Printify? Cool. Where are the margins? We can like cherry pick essentially the best ones to bring in-house to manufacture. It's definitely beneficial for Printify in this case, which will be beneficial for sellers too, because Cassiy was mentioning embroidery, for example. Printify cannot really be a leader in embroidery, and I mean it's difficult for them because they have third-party manufacturers, where Printful they can be that, and so it's going to be, I think it'll be helpful for the market for sure. It definitely could, depending on the companies, like on how they want to do it as far as pricing goes. I think Printful is always higher priced, so I'm always wonder about that, but I think it'll be fine.
I think one interesting thing that I'm really excited about the collaboration is, I've been a diehard Printify user because of the price difference, the shipping time difference. There's just things that I've really enjoyed about working with Printify. But one thing that Printful does very, very well is international shipping. They make it so easy that you just get the order and Printful ships it to where it needs to be from the closest printing company. And I think Printify has been working on trying to do something similar. But I think
choice.
Yeah, with Printify choice. But Printify choice isn't perfect either, so I think both of them, are going to have to kind of come together and use the best of both worlds to find the best solutions. But right now, shipping internationally can be very complicated with Printify to make sure that you're getting the closest item to them and all those things. So I think that'll be really interesting to see how they connect in that way and what they can really learn from each other, because they both have their strong suits.
Yeah. I think it's just they're going to fill in the gaps of, like, if you've been using if you've used both before, you've probably noticed there's some differences, or maybe Printify is missing something that Printful has. Printful is missing something that Printify has. I think they will both kind of become a lot better more quickly. So yes, maybe there will be some downsides. There's always pros and cons, but I think overall, if they work together, it can only get better with time.
I think it's interesting to think about why companies do this. And Maya, you already touched on this too, which are great economies of scale and like advantages and stuff like this, which is awesome. But like, that's not only about that. It's actually, it's take a step past that. What is their long-term ambition for these two companies is kind of a question, right? Typically companies grow like this for two main objectives. It's usually to grow big and then basically sell the company, right? A private equity company will come in and purchase the company for a huge cash amounts or cash plus stock, and they exit that company, and it's like a big win. Everybody like on the founding team made a bunch of money. That's option one. Option two would be to go public. And print-on-demand companies, there hasn't been a lot of companies that have gone public. And when I say public, it's like IPOs.
Redbubble is publicly traded in Australia.
Oh, are they? Okay.
That's why you can see all of their meetings. If you try to like find their like revenue reports and their shareholder meetings, it's all public information because they're publicly traded in the Australian market.
Got it. That's very cool. And so you can kind of see this trajectory that probably Printify and Printful are probably on, is that they're probably not big enough to quite go public yet, because there's usually revenue thresholds, at least in the U.S. stock market, to go public. And so that could be a reality, in the next five years.
They will need to first like gather their name together, because actually there is a name that was chosen, but they're not letting anyone know, and it's not going to be Printify. Because half of my viewers like, is it going to be Printify? So it's not going to be Printify, but they already have a name in mind. And eventually, I think eventually I think maybe in 2-3 years, there will be like a third website that kind of is everything, and maybe they will mellow it down, but it wasn't anything that was even discussed. They were like, we know that people love us for that reason, and we're going to continue doing what people like, because we are fully aware of the fact that if you're selling, you're making them money. So your success as a seller is their success. Because if at the end of the day, none of the sellers are selling, then they won't make money, and they will just be in a minus because they have to pay, employees and stuff and fulfillment centers. But I think eventually there will be like one big thing, maybe eventually, and then they will go into the market.
Yeah, when you do an acquisition, or a merger like this, the last thing you want to do is like throw everything like into chaos. You want to stabilize. Like the news is already destabilizing enough, and you need to keep everything as calm as possible. And that means not changing a whole lot in your business models, not changing a whole lot in your branding. Like you need to do it slowly and let the market kind of get used to, like sellers like us, or sellers like people listening to this, is you need to let people just get used to this type of news. So I think Kelly asked, like, are both companies going to keep paying for their subscription separately? I'm assuming you're asking, are they going to keep separate subscriptions?
Yeah.
Yes.
By Premium and Printful. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
They don't have any intention of currently mixing it up. They might. And also something that you brought up with the embroidery, one thing that came up with Printify. Printify has their group, I think it's called Print-on-Demand Secrets, POD Secrets or something like that. Or POD, I have it written somewhere here because I wasn't on their group exactly, but I think it's called POD Rockstars. That's the name of the Facebook group of Printify. Printful has Printful's Insiders. So David did say that he really wants people to bring it up, whether it's in the group, mostly in the group or in support, to bring up what do you want to see from this merge. So just like is that Cassiy or Cassiy?
It's Cassiy, yeah.
Cassiy, okay. So just like Cassiy said, it's basically like you want to see more embroidery with Printify, go to the group and ask that. He said, if we're going to see that many people are asking something specific, now that we know that we have a partnering company that knows how to do something better, if you see something on Printful that you like, literally come to our group and ask for it. So that was latest news, I guess.
That's good to know. So perfect for anyone who's watching, who's always wanted something from Printify, Printful. Go and suggest it now. Like now is when they're working on this stuff even more so.
Now is it the most vulnerable? That's it now.
It hasn't
some-
closed yet. Give them our demands. No.
I would be surprised if we don't see Printify integrated with Printful as a supplier, though. Like in the very short term, it's an easy win.
With Printify as a supplier.
Yeah, adding Printful onto Printify's website as one of the options would be my chef's kiss idea of a merger, but that is selfishly as mainly
that might be Printful.
What'd you say?
If you have the people who are using both Printful and Printify, if Printful is going to be fully integrated as a supplier with Printify, those people will no longer be using potentially their Printful subscription.
Right. So that's the complicated part.
Yeah, that's where they'll slow down and have to think about how they want to do it. But it's very clear they should do this because Printify has a huge user base that could definitely be benefiting from using Printful. So if it were me doing this, I'd be thinking how to do this to where it makes the customer happy. That's my first thing. Is like, how do we do this without disrupting the customer?
Also, without disrupting like the let's call it the potential or the capabilities of the Printful factories, because the last thing you want to see as a Printful seller is, oh, this color is gone because it went to people selling on Printify. Because if you look at the majority of the suppliers on Printify, very few of them have their own small integration with something. But if you look at most of them, you go into their website, they don't sell anything on their own. You can't like order stuff on your own. You can like contact them as a company and order stuff. And of course, they have the API with Printify. But I'm thinking about it, like, let's say now they decide to integrate the sweatshirts with like the embroidery. What's going to happen now if it's going to run out or they're not going to have enough time? Does that mean that Printful will have longer shipping times or longer fulfillment time, not shipping, but fulfillment times for their Printful users? So as much as this will be like amazing news for people on Printify, if you're selling with Printful, I can see, unless they increase production somehow or add a fulfillment center, I see this as a potential issue because all of a sudden you're exposed. Like you're not like growing slowly, you know, all of a sudden you're exposed to this whole thing. So I'm selling with Printful. So for me, it's like, I don't want my merch to run out.
It's a good point because you think when they run out, what do? Do they prioritize their own Printful customers and then all the Printify people have to wait longer? Like it's difficult figuring that one out, I guess.
I think it's a short-term problem that will get solved long-term. Like Printful wants those problems. Like they want those problems. They want to be so much demand and overwhelmed. They're like, we need another fulfillment factory, because until they are overwhelmed, they're never going to be able to justify getting another fulfillment center. And so I think it's a short-term problem for sellers. It would be, but it would be better long-term, I think, for them.
I just wanted to point out that Carla donated $50 to St. Jude's. Thank you very much for that.
I think we all need to dance whenever someone donates.
Yeah, well, okay, that'll be the new thing. I don't know if you can actually like write a message with a donation. Like I haven't found it yet, so maybe I've set it up wrong.
I think it's called super chats or something.
Yeah.
No, but donate to Philip. I think whatever you get super chats, if the thing is a fundraiser, it's supposed to go to the fundraiser as well. Because I saw that your video was set up as a fundraiser.
Yeah, the idea was that it's a super chat that then goes to St. Jude's. I don't know if that's possible yet, but I'll try and work it out anyway for future streams if it doesn't work yet. But someone also suggested better mock-ups coming out of this. I hope that happens, because I always feel that's the bottleneck with most of these, Printify and Printful. Huh?
Printful has amazing mock-ups.
Where?
You just need to go to the mock-up downloader.
The default mock-ups, I think, look terrible. Maybe they have the ones where you can customize them now, or
7 different models per T-shirt in the download defaulters. Like
maybe I haven't used it for a while. I use my designs mainly now.
Save as a template, and then you click on download mockups, and then you can see which ones they have. I actually saw really good ones. Okay. I don't know if like for all products, but I've seen like really good ones that they had. I wish they would integrate more of these good mockups with Fourth Wall, but yeah. And I think Placeit also got better. Like they got better at finding the exact. No, they got, if you can find like the exact shirt or something. I sell less T-shirts than other people, so I think
mockups are Fillmore. I think that one is going to be tough. I think they will get better naturally because Printful I think does better than mockups than Printify probably. But I don't know if I would expect it to get way better because mockups is kind of a challenging thing. Because let's say they both provide great mockups, then everyone goes and uses those mockups, and then all of a sudden no one's great anymore. And then you always want more mockups and more different mockups and better mockups, and so it's like a moving target that you can never really catch up to. And that's why third-party mockup tools are probably always going to be better, and they probably should always exist because that's their job, is to stay up on the market, and mockups don't generate any revenue, any direct revenue to Printify, to Printful, so they will never prioritize it. So Etsy shops and stuff are like the place to go for like mockups, and I think they always will be.
I think so too. And the people in my like print on demand roadmap course, like private community, we always joke about having a mockup anonymous group because we're all addicted to buying new, beautiful mockups for different occasions and different reasons. And I think, even if Printful or Printify had amazing mockups, I'm probably never going to want to use them. I'm going to get different ones. I want to stand out. I want to use a different, style, or have it be for the particular holiday, like on Etsy specifically. And obviously that's, where my frame of mind is that specific market. I think having different unique mockups can really help you stand out, especially for like a certain vibe, like if you have someone like taking a selfie in the mirror and the phone's over their face, like cool, different types of mockups. Is always going to be what I gravitate towards, is the more like stylish mockups, something more unique, something a little bit cooler. That's going to be more of what I'm going to, go for. So I think I probably don't care as much about the mockups on the two platforms, but that is also coming from someone who selfishly is also building a mock-up automation software at this very moment. So I am biased, I will say. So I am about to actually officially announce my new mock-up automation software here in the next week or two. It's called Simply Listed. And it's just like if you make your mockups in Canva, you would add all your mockups to the platform. You'd tell us where your print areas are, and we are fully integrated with Printify at this point. And it will grab your design from Printify, put it on the mockup, lower the opacity, size it right, and it'll publish it to Etsy. And it'll even turn all the photos into a slideshow video and post the video.
Let's go.
Nice.
That's really nice. And
Saving
you said
people
it's
time.
integrated with Printify, so you don't have to go outside of Printify necessarily.
So you'll just add your design to Printify, build a template in Simply Listed, and then we connect the dots. So no more putting each design on each mockup, saving all of them to your computer, and then uploading them to Etsy. We'll automate all of that part for you. You just have to build a template one time, and it's going to be really, really cool.
That does sound awesome. Really nice. Is that the first time you've mentioned it on YouTube?
On my YouTube channel, yeah, actually it is. I probably wasn't going to mention it, but here we are. So if you want to join the waitlist, it's simplylisted.io.
Let's go.
And I'll be making a real YouTube video about it soon. But, so I really do believe in mockups. Obviously, that's why I'm building something like that. I think mockups are super, super important on a platform like Etsy. So it would be cool if they have better mockups. I'd say for some products, like, mugs. I've never minded Printify's mug mockups. I think they're decent. I usually leave a couple of those in my listings. It is nice to have some products that are outside of, say, clothing that you could just use. I think it's less important for some products than others. Like some of the ornament mockups are fine to just use. So the better mockups we can get for the products that are harder to make mockups for, I think that's for the better, because it doesn't matter if those really have the same mockup. I think with clothing, it's maybe a little bit more important depending on the vibe you're going for that niche or that holiday, but other types of products, I think having better mockups for it would be awesome. So hopefully we do see some improvements in those areas for sure with the merger.
I feel like it's also because you're talking about Etsy.
Yeah.
Because Etsy, you basically have each individual listing is like standing on its own. But if I'm looking at it from like an external shop point of view, what I would suggest for most people, and I feel like this was like when I was working with e-commerce sellers before even I started print on demand, and they were like, oh, I do print on demand. I need to order all of these things because mockups were not yet available back then. And I was just saying, you know what? You have 20 designs of a t-shirt. Awesome. Order 3 in 3 different sizes. You are 3 different people wearing them. Create this like video or photo slide of that. And that is like on your banner, like the main page for the t-shirts. And then you just show the static t-shirt. That's it. People can already see how that t-shirt model looks like on a person in different sizes. And then it's just the static ones. Same with mugs. Have like a black mug, a white mug, and then you have the mug, just the flat lay, you know? And that works for like individual stores, not Etsy, of course.
There's a bunch of questions about
I saw fourth one up as well.
Simply Listed. We'll also have a 5th person joining us in a second here, a regular, but he's just vanished. So we'll give that a minute. Oh, there he is. Welcome, Chris.
How's it going, everybody?
Hello, how you doing?
Chris.
Hey,
Nice to
nice
be
to
here
meet
with
you
you.
guys. And good to see you again, Cassiy.
Good to see you again. Yeah, Chris actually joined me in Latvia when we got to go to PRINTIFY together. So we've met in person as well. So that was really fun experience. They were asking me earlier if we got any insider knowledge while we were there. I was like, absolutely not. So unless somebody whispered in your ear while we were there, I don't think so.
No, that they did. They told us a new name. Did you miss that? Yeah.
If they told you the new name and they didn't tell me, I'm gonna get pissed off.
Yeah, it's a secret, but it's called PRINTFULify. So stay tuned.
No, it's actually you actually missed the part where I saw it, where I said it, that they said it will definitely not be PRINTIFY. Like,
Oh, that's also a good one. Yeah, it's such. I mean, you guys might have already talked about this, but it's so funny that the timing, like right after the big rebrand.
Yeah, I know.
I can't imagine PRINTIFY like without the when I think
I know.
I didn't even realize that they changed the branding until someone said it in the live that I did. I didn't even realize. I was literally looking at their system about to order some stuff for testing. I didn't even see that the logo is different. I was so blind to the fact that they changed their branding.
Yeah, it seemed like they changed their branding to be more. I don't know. The snap is like fun, but I think like the new branding portrays it as more like a legitimate like financial income source and like an actual business that you can like, not just like a hobby or like a passive thing on the side that people try out for fun, like an actual. They want people to be doing it for months and years, not like weeks. So
Yeah, that's a good point. I think they're going to be going upmarket. Upmarket, for anybody that doesn't know what that means, is like they're going to go after business customers. They're going to go after corporate accounts. They're going to go after like merch, bigger like what do you want to call it? Like corporate merch deals.
Talk about 500, like Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a big opportunity. Gelato has gone upmarket in the past as well, so it certainly will make sense.
In the TechCrunch article, like when they were making the statement in the TechCrunch article versus what they posted in the individual groups, they were saying that with this new collaboration, they will be able to service even giant companies, not just the medium and small.
Yeah, when they did the meeting last year to get people's opinion on the rebrand, the way they were kind of selling it is they wanted it to be more of like a normal everyday person branding instead of like corporate branding, is what they said. Is they wanted it to feel kind of like a handmade, like this is just for you, the average user at home building your business type of vibe, instead of like a super corporate vibe. And so they wanted it to be like really fun, kind of handmade letters kind of feeling is what they said they were going for. And so I don't know if that's quite come across with the branding, but that's what they said last year anyways.
Quick reminder for people to submit their shops because we're going to do shop reviews later. Also, anyone who's got a Shopify store that wants help, Chris is here. Shopify expert. He always wants to review one, but no one ever submits any. So yeah, if you've got a Shopify,
it's normally just Etsy and Merch by Amazon, and I just go on mute and learn.
Yeah. Well, we'll post the link to that document again in the chat where you can leave your link. And we also had a bunch of questions about Simply Listed. Where have they gone?
I need to sign up to the wish list.
Any chance you'll integrate your new mock-up software with other platforms like Shopify?
Yes. Right now, we are almost halfway done building our Amazon integration. So that was our second one. So that should be live sometime near in the future. And then after that, we want to do Shopify. That's going to be our next one. In the meantime, if you're already using Printify to make your products and you're uploading them onto Shopify, you could actually still use Simply Listed as it is and just download the mockups that we automatically make for you instead of it auto publishing them. So you could use it for a Shopify store in the meantime, but I only sold on Shopify for like 3 weeks 4 years ago. So that's going to be a little bit of a learning process for me on how that's going to work when we go set up the integration. So I'll have to maybe ask Chris some questions on how Shopify.
Yeah, I would love to. Our whole community would. It's like one of the biggest pain points that people have is like when you put all the time into manually uploading all the mockups, and then when you go to launch, if you find like the mockup is one of the biggest impactors on your ad performance. Like if you have an amazing design, but if it's on a terrible mockup, it can still do okay. But a lot of times we end up having to make the hard recommendation of we need to redo all the mockups. Like nobody ever wants to hear that, as they're just picturing dozens of hours of just clicking repeatedly. And so being able to like streamline that process saves, honestly, besides designing, I think mock-up uploads is like the second most time consuming activity for Shopify print on demand sellers.
Yeah, same with Etsy. Mockups just take a little bit longer than you want. They don't take that long, but when you times that many images by that many listings, like it really adds up. I'd say, if you're doing a really consistent amount of listings every week, it probably could save you at least 2 hours a week, which is just a big time saver to get to put your time into something else. So I'm really excited to announce. I know some other people were asking if it's going to be AI. It's only going to be a replacement for Canva. So if you have like Canva or Kittl and you make your mockups there, it's going to be a replacement for that. So JPEG mockups and things like that. Anything you can make in Canva, you'll be able to make in Simply Listed. At this time, it's not going to be AI or smart mockups at all. So it's going to be, a lot of, if you sell different products like pillows or like dog hoodies, you're going to want to buy the, JPEG mockups that have the see-through PNG spot where you put your design behind it and it shows through. Those types of mockups will be perfect for like blankets, pillows, dog hoodies, that type of stuff. But no, it's not like a replacement for smart mockups.
Okay. There's some examples on the website, on the homepage, Simply Listed. .io. I put it in the chat earlier if anyone wants to take a look at it. And someone also asked, will it work with Photoshop?
Yeah, no, it's just going to be a replacement for Canva. No connections with Photoshop at this time. We're just kind of building it out real simple, getting it going for like the majority of people who just make really simple mockups in Canva for now. And then maybe we'll expand it in the future. And then another feature that I didn't even think to mention for Etsy users, I don't know if this would be useful for Shopify as well, Chris. You can tell me if this is something, but a lot of times when people are building group mockups or group listings on Etsy, they have to manually make the listing. So it's like kids shirts, adult shirts, sweatshirts, t-shirts, and then it's not connected with Printify because there's no SKU numbers. And so we have just finished our SKU linking software as well. So right now, if you make listings for one design on multiple products, that's the only thing it's ready for at the moment. So if you make one design and you want to offer it on all the types of products, so a matching family set where it all says Family Christmas 2024, or you just want to offer your everyday designs on every single size, then it will actually go connect all of the SKU numbers from all of those items in Printify to that listing on Etsy so that it's fully integrated. So that's another feature that we're finalizing. In the future, we do want to, hopefully in the next few weeks, build it out. So if you have like a most likely to saying, you have like 40 sayings on one shirt, we're working on building that out as well. It's just not ready just yet. So it'll be a cool feature as well. So I don't know if that's something you need for Shopify, Chris, but.
Yeah, on Shopify, they limit you to 100 variants per listing. Well, they might have just updated this recently, but it's like basically if you just take your sizes times number of colors, that's how many you can have. So if you want to have multiple product types, like say if you want to do like a hoodie, a t-shirt, and a tank top, so that would be just multiplying the number of sizes and colors by 3. So you just have to do less colors. But what we can do is, And what we do on our store is we essentially link to those other product types, just with like a little icon, and then it essentially takes you to a different listing. But connecting all of it in Printify is definitely a headache. So I would be interested to see how, like, what you guys come up with there, or to help provide any feedback. I'd love to talk about it.
Yeah, sounds great. We'll connect offline. But yeah, so super excited about that. I don't mean to derail the conversation and hog it over here, but I'm excited about my new thing, so that'll be fun.
I'm
But
excited too.
this actually is building something as well, or built.
Did you say my name?
Yeah.
Okay, it skipped out for a second. Yeah, we're building the first step in that process, the design piece. So like basically like an AI image generator specifically for print on demand sellers. And I love what you said about simplicity. Like that's our number one like guiding like North Star, is just making it everything you need, but absolutely nothing more. And it really simplifies the process down to like, what does a print on demand seller need? Like, what do we need in order to come up with the ideas, easily generate the designs without having to come up with like complex prompts, go back and forth, and then remove the background, which we're working on. Thanks for the feedback, Philip. And then upscaling, vectorizing, generates titles, descriptions, tags. And then for me, what I'm most excited about is like once you have a design that's working well, we then try to start iterating on it like very quickly. Like once we find something that's working. And with Mystic, we try to make it really easy to do that, where you can just select the design and then in plain English, because I don't know about you guys, but like I was never very good at prompting, like the long form prompts. It always took me a while. So now you'll be able to just use like plain English and say like, make more like this design, or swap out the animal, change the art style, and it'll do that. And not just for 1 or 2, like you can do right now, it's just 8 at a time, but we're going to be increasing that up to 20 at a time. So you'll be able to very quickly just go from one really good design to 20 to 40 based off of that exact one. And then you can do that for your whole collection.
That's awesome.
And it's called, you haven't said the name yet.
What's that?
What's its name? You haven't
mentioned mysticpod.com,
Yeah.
not mystic.ai. A couple of people that went through like the 21-hour free course, I got messages saying, Chris, like I just set up my GPU, like what's next? And I was like, what are you setting up your GPU? And there's a mystic.ai that's like a inference AI software. It's like extremely complex. I wouldn't even know where to start to use it. And people were like learning how to set up their GPU. So it's Mystic POD is, yeah, Phil just threw in the link.
Yeah, I made a video about it yesterday. So if this is the first time you're hearing about it, there's a bit of a tutorial going through it. It is really, really good and easy to use. Like it's like you said, kind of like talking to ChatGPT. Don't have to do much prompting. You've got a lot of templates there that already look like t-shirt designs.
Chris,
yeah.
we should connect offline too. A lot of our customers can benefit from that for sure, and like learning more about the tool and about you and stuff like that too. So have you on the podcast, and
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Everbee is also we're building. So it's funny. We're building like the Shopify alternative as well. This is way too early to announce this, and it's not an announcement, just to be clear. But we're still even playing with the names.
An idea.
But we simplicity. You guys are talking about simplicity constantly, and that's exactly like how it's funny, we're all friends because of this. Yeah, basically like I want to integrate with what you're just talking about. I want you guys to be an app in our ecosystem. Simply Listed will definitely be an app. Cassiy and I have already talked about that offline, but we should for sure chat more.
Yeah, I'd love to.
And Cassiy, how long is it going to be before this launches, year 1?
We are in beta at the moment. So we've got, I think, 70 or 80 users at the moment. And we're just finalizing one little change, and then we're going to be looking at going live. So I'd say within the next 2 weeks. We're almost ready, just the finishing little touches, and it'll be ready to go. So feel free to join the wait list. We might email out people on the wait list and ask them to join the last week of the beta potentially. So it could be as early as Monday if you join the wait list, if you're interested. If enough people are interested, we could see about letting a few hundred people in just to check it out a little bit first if people want to check it out. Because it is fully functioning and working. We're just making a few tiny changes. We just finished the mock-up video automation yesterday. So even the new beta users haven't seen that yet. So that'll be coming. We just got to like fix it and get it working, because making videos takes a little bit more time than I anticipated, which makes sense. But it's going to be cool. It's going to be a simple like slideshow transition video. It's not going to be like a super fancy, listing video, but I think most people aren't making listing videos for their Etsy shops right now, because it does take just a little bit more time to do that. So I think having it automatically make them for you and upload it for you is just going to be such a cool little time saver.
Yep, those videos do really well in ads as well. Like some of our top ad creatives is if you just take your top 10 bestsellers. We just use like the Facebook generated one, which is like super basic. But if you could use like custom mockups to generate, like we just do 10 images, like our top 10 bestsellers, 1 second transition, and they perform really well.
That's awesome. And it doesn't have to have any fancy editing. It's literally just sliding from one mockup to the other.
Yeah, I used to like hire video editors and like spend a lot of time making super fancy creatives, and then just the slideshow videos do really well. And interestingly, I tested, like we would get a lot of comments from people saying like it's going too fast, like the 1 second interval, like I can't see the designs. And so I tested 2 and 3 and 4 second intervals, and 1 second way outperformed in terms of cost per click. And 2 possible reasons. One, it's just going fast, so people are like, they want to see the design, so they click to actually be able to see it. And then 2, it's getting comments from people. It's kind of like if you ever see videos where people intentionally mess something up, or they put like something funny in the background, it just spurs engagement, and then that feeds the algorithm, and more comments leads to cheaper CPMs, which leads to cheaper traffic.
Well, it creates curiosity. I see that all the time when I'm scrolling on TikTok. People like add words to the screen, but you don't have time to read it before the video ends. So you end up watching it 3 times to read the text on the screen. It's the same kind of idea. They're like, oh, what was that? They don't get immediate all the information they want. So they have to go click and find out. So I think that makes a lot of sense. So I think one thing I just wanted to say really quickly, because I feel like, we're talking about a bunch of different things, but I hope that you guys that are watching this live hear this overarching concept of simplicity, because I feel like every single thing we've talked about today, mock-ups, Facebook ads, mock-up images, like everything we've chatted about all comes back to being really simple. Like simple really is key. I think that is one of the biggest mistakes that new print-on-demand sellers make, is they overthink it. They make their designs with too many colors, too many graphics. They, just really overthink things and go too far because they think they have to like be so crazy different, when really the simple stuff sells. Like gray shirts with white text on it sell 100 times more than shirts with like 7 different graphics and 3 different colors. Not that those don't have their place sometimes, but I think if you are struggling to get going with this, I think going back to the basics and just keeping things simple really can help you a lot. And so I just kind of wanted to throw that out there.
That's a really good tip. Yeah. Oftentimes less is more.
Especially. Sorry.
No, go on.
If you look at the mug that has I forgot how it's called, the mug that has the different color inside and the different color on the handle, yeah? So I always tell people, you want to design that one, don't put a design on it because you would put it on anything and just make that mug available. Just pick one of these colors, either black or blue, and that would be one of the 3 colors that is printed on the design. That's it. Make that process simple, and always try to like, even like this one, always try to match it to something. Like I would never put this on anything other than dark blue, like the navy. I would not put it on black. I would not even make it available on other colors. It's also like, don't give people too much option, and don't make your life too difficult when trying to mix all these things. And I've seen like new people just mix 5 fonts or 4 fonts as well, or different style of clip art in the same design. So just make it look cohesive. And I feel like a lot of times when people start this business, they have something that they think in mind that they want to design or they want to put out there, and they just focus on creating it and putting it out there versus thinking, would I actually buy it? Is this going to be something in my house? And I feel like the same way that people say, like, you want to write a book, great, read books. You want to design mugs, go to a store that sells mugs and look at the mugs that they're selling, because these are the mugs that the store chose to buy stock of because they knew that people are going to buy them. Same with clothes, same with bed sheets and shower curtains and all that. So keeping it simple, but also literally just take inspiration from what is already existing in your house, because I see so many people designing something that I'm pretty sure they never saw it anywhere else. It's not existent. They're trying to, like, I don't know, invent something incredibly new.
Yeah.
And you
Agree.
just need something that integrates with people's lives, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's it's an understandable like inclination as a beginner. Like, think like every time we've done art or anything creative in the past, like we've pretty much made it, at least for me, like I've just been making it for myself. Like art projects growing up, I never, until I got into print on demand, I was never designing something specifically for other people. And recognizing that when we start designing, we can either be, you know, if we're just trying to make designs that we like and things that we think are cool, then that's great. But us like calling it what it is, we essentially have an art project. If we're trying to build like a real business, that's meeting market demand in one form or fashion. And that starts with like Carla commented, you were just mentioning, it starts with doing really good research and understanding what is there already demand for out in the market. And then something else I noticed is that after people do research, if they go through, they see like, you know, what people are buying in their niche design styles, making sure that that research actually gets carried over into the design process. I see a lot of times people do a lot of research and it's great. And then they're like, all right, moving on to my designs. Step one, don't need this research anymore. They like kind of chuck it out the window, and then they just start like prompting in AI. It's really important that we have that as kind of like our mood board, and like set it down next to your art pad, so to speak, and that we're referencing that and like benefiting from all the research that we just did.
And
You know, I actually have
most people
a book recommendation. Oh, go ahead.
most people don't think about mood boards and color palettes. Most people start because they watch some kind of video and they just open Canva or open something and list. They don't think about design language or all of these things, or to make a cohesive look. And I feel like it also is very different to be a good graphic designer, and that's like the first step in it, to know what colors mix together. And definitely you can use AI to give you like a simple, like, give me this in an art deco color palette or of 4 colors, because you can even prompt what colors you want. And I think even with the ideogram you can choose like color palettes from that. But it's to come to the point where, okay, I'm going to be a good graphic designer, and then take it to, I'm going to be a good product designer.
Yeah.
Because that is a totally different story. You can be a very good graphic designer and still make really bad products. So, and the whole, like, I'm designing something for me, I feel like I was kind of the opposite on that, because I always found that the things that sold very early on in the beginning when I started with Print on Demand were the things that I actually used. I think it was, I started with Society 6, but it was either with Society 6 or Redbubble, where I would literally design something just because I want it. And that item turned to be the one that sold most. But it was again, it was very simple. It wasn't very complex, and it was niched. So people who come from a niche, if you do come from a specific hobby, then you have more inside jokes or inside information. So I would say definitely do design the things that you want to design for yourself, but not necessarily in the style that only you will understand and want.
I think it's like I use the 80-20 rule for this. Like you can like spend 80% of your time and your effort and your energy researching products, finding products, designing products that your market, your customers would actually want. And if that's not super creatively appealing for you, then use 20% of your time and your energy to stroke the artist inside of you and design for yourself. And that's why you kind of get both, but you're not going to be in business very long only designing for yourself typically. And that's why you use tools. If you sell on Amazon, you probably use tools like Jungle Scout or Helium 10. If you sell on Etsy, then you want to use Everbee. It's literally designed for that. And it's like you need to be using data to run the business always. And if you don't, you're just going to get left behind, because you have people like everybody here and everybody watching this video is going to go and use data to run their business, and you're just going to get crushed. So I agree. Like research is king. Well, research is important. Design is definitely king, especially on Etsy.
Yeah, both are super important. But I was gonna say, as a new person, if you're like, okay, this all sounds great, but like, how does this actually work? Like, this is still over my head. I have a book recommendation for you, and I want you all to go buy it right now. Not sponsored. It's my favorite book of, I think, 2023. It's called The Laws of Creativity by, I believe his name's Joey Cafone.
Mm.
Probably slaughtering that.
Amazon list.
Add it to your list. It is one of the best books I've read in so long, as far as like tangible takeaways of how to actually get creative, how to get into the flow state, how to apply what you've researched in a way that's not copying, but still is based on research. He has a law in there that I believe is called the law of combination. And what he talks about is looking at what works in the overall market. So for us, for print on demand, you'd look at color palettes, you'd look at layouts, you'd look at fonts, types of graphics, and then you combine 2 to 3 of those elements in a unique way. And so we're not starting from scratch. You know, when you're staring at a blank white canvas on Canva, that can feel really intimidating. But if you're using tools like Everbee and you're looking through and you're like, okay, these 100 listings have sold ridiculously well. Let me look at them, pretend like I don't speak English, and just pay attention to the actual styles, the colors, the fonts. And so maybe then you're like, okay, retro wavy designs are really popular. This random kind of color palette seems to be really cool over here for this niche. Maybe I combine that with, you know, a monochrome style and put it blue on blue. You know, like you can combine different things that you've seen other people do in a unique way. And so your design doesn't have to be like out of this world, different and unique. It just needs to add value in ways that other listings aren't, but still be based on what's working. And so that might sound confusing the way that I'm saying it, but I promise you that if you go read that book, it will feel like it starts to click in place, because it was really one of the most impactful books that I've read in the last, I'd say, 10 years.
So it's called The Laws of Creativity, and it's by Joey Cafone. Is that right?
Let me Google it and make sure.
The
Laws of Creativity. I'm pretty sure it's
Joey
Joey Cafone. Yeah, The Laws of Creativity by Joey Cafone. It's a purple book.
Unlock your originality and awaken your creative genius. That's the full name on Amazon, but it's currently, from what I see on Amazon DE, it's currently only available on Kindle.
Oh.
Like I can't find it on like a paperback.
Yeah, I bought the hardcover. I don't think it comes in paperback. I think it only comes in hardcover, but
You have Kindle in the German Amazon.
okay, well, at least it's on Kindle, but I definitely would recommend it.
Bill, I was trying to favorite or star a couple comments in here, but I don't think I'm able to for some reason. But Adobe Dregs Coffee LLC asked, what are your thoughts on customizable and personalizable designs and Hello Custom? And I know that Cassiy knows Stephen well from Hello Custom. He's a friend of mine as well. Personalization.
Yeah, I used Hello Custom for, I think, probably a couple thousand customized products at this point. I integrated with them a couple months ago. So I have actually done, I think probably 1,000 or 2,000 items through Hello Custom. And I think it's awesome. Personalizable products, if you're selling on Etsy, I think is a must-have. You know, when you're talking about selling on Etsy, people are there because they want something unique. They want to buy someone a gift that the person's going to be like, oh my gosh, this is the most wonderful gift. Where did you get this? Like, I know me personally, I love giving gifts that people are like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Thank you so much. Like, I never even would have thought that I could get something with my face on it or my name or my anniversary date. And so I think that is a great way to add value, especially if you find a niche that doesn't have any personalization. Like if I'm looking into a niche and the first page doesn't have a single personalized product, I just see money signs. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to come in here and take over, because people love their own name. Like it is just the way that it works. Like go put someone's name. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just someone's name, the year that someone's baby was born, like super simple stuff really goes a long way. But before Hello Custom or, any of the, automation tools, personalization can take time. And I think that's what keeps people away, is they're intimidated by having to make all those. There's been times where I've had to make 50 personalized designs in a day in the middle of Q4. And that's just not very fun. And so I think something like Hello Custom can really make that so much faster, since they automate that process for you.
What do you think about this, Chris, with Shopify? Have you had any students test this, or have you
Yeah,
tried
I was just going to say, I think I actually said it in the 21-hour course, but I think personalization is like one of the biggest like untapped markets on Shopify. So does extremely well. Like you guys are talking about on Etsy, like anytime something does really well on Etsy, like concepts or niches, it normally does pretty well on Shopify because those buyers, they have Facebook accounts, they go on other websites. You can get in front of those eyeballs in different places, and it's you can also command like a much higher price point. A prime example of this, you can do this with very few products, like Pup Socks. I don't know if you guys remember this company from a few years ago. I think they're still around, but they scaled to 8 figures a year with one product, literally just your dog on socks. And I used to have a sock company, so I did a lot of research into them. They had like the lowest quality, horrible socks, but they did extremely well because it was just like a unique personalized gift. And now they offer like a couple of different products, but they scaled to 8 figures off of just one thing, just one personalized product.
It really only takes one product to really change like your entire business and life. We always say it at Everbee, like it takes one product to really go, and your business and your life is different. It's wild to me.
Yeah, every brand that we've done, it's gone that exact way where we're testing out a lot of different stuff, and it seems like nothing's really sticking until one product, normally a product that I think is like not going to sell well, just takes off. And it completely changes the business overnight. And then you follow it up by doubling down on that and just doing a lot more of what's working. Like on History Tees, it was the Lincoln 5-star review. We launched with a bunch of different designs, and then that one just took off. And then we just built the whole collection around that concept, which was like sarcastic, humorous history references, like pretty simple graphics and some typography. And like we launched with like blueprint art that I thought was really cool, but apparently nobody else did. But that's exactly what we were talking about before. It doesn't matter at all what I like. It just matters what the market wants. And once you find that one product, you just got to really double and triple down on it.
Well, and thinking of just one product making the difference. So 4 years ago today, I had just listed on November 3rd a funny political ugly Christmas sweater on Etsy. And if you're sitting here thinking, I missed Christmas, like I missed Q4, darn it, I didn't list enough stuff. Like it is not too late, even right this second, because it doesn't always work that way, but especially right now because of the political landscape here in the US. 4 years ago, like I said, I posted a funny, ugly Christmas sweater that was like political themed on November 3rd. And I think I sold that sweatshirt 400 times in 3 weeks. And so if you post some stuff literally today, it could be your one item that can make the big difference. And if you double down on that, do more versions, like if I was you guys sitting there at home, I'm so glad you're here with us live. But after this, I think you should, if you want more print-on-demand sales, get to work right this second. Don't overthink it. Like speed is your biggest friend right this moment. I post Etsy listings for the holidays until Black Friday. I post items every single day till Black Friday. And if you can hit one, not all of them are going to hit. Like Cody said, the 80-20 rule, it's not everything you're going to list. Even today, knowing what I know, not every single thing I make is my next bestseller. That's not how it works. But if you can get a couple that take off, it could change your whole Q4. So it is not too late.
And what I want to add to that as well is, even if the products that you list this year, like a lot of them probably won't necessarily take off yet, they can still do next year. Like they'll still be there. It's not like all that work is just wasted. Because a lot of the time things start to sell for me that I listed like a year ago or 2 years ago, and I've already forgotten about the design, but like it suddenly starts to sell. So it's not always like the first month. If it doesn't sell, that means it's a waste of time. And your best seller is rarely going to be your first 10 designs that you upload, or even your first 100 designs. If you're completely new to it, if you're new to design as well, it typically takes a while to find that best seller.
Agreed. I want to shamelessly plug myself here, or Everbee here, if I can. But I think it's very relevant, and I think seasonality is important for Etsy, for every product, right? For sure, especially on Etsy though. If you guys are already watching this, you're probably already, if you're Cassie's channel, you're definitely using Everbee, which is awesome. So thank you for that, first of all. But right now we just released our first version of our daily trends, like our trends feature. So now you'll be able to actually see seasonality of each specific product across the entire platform. So we have over 110 million listings in our database that we analyze every day. And the problem that we've had in the past naturally is just because the data, you wouldn't be able to see seasonality. For example, this ornament, when did the ornament start selling and when did it drop off? Oh, the Halloween designs, which one did it? When did it start taking off? When should you list it? All these questions of seasonality come in. Everbee finally is releasing this, which is cool. It'll come in a couple of different variations. So if you're wondering, like you've already got the update probably yesterday. You're going to see only the last 30 days seasonality, but in a couple of weeks, you're going to see the entire year for that specific product, and you'll be able to actually see its trends throughout its history of being listed, which is really, really cool. And it's going to be really valuable when you start thinking about holiday planning and all that stuff with your product listings. So if you guys have any questions.
Where do you
have
see
an
that?
example of that?
Again?
Cassiy, what did you say?
Oh, I said, where do you go see the trends on Everbee?
Right now, it's in our web app. We're actually waiting for it to publish in Chrome extension. So if you're using the Chrome extension, which majority of people do, we're actually just waiting for Google to approve it, and you'll see it in the Chrome extension. But right now, it's just like on the app.everbee.io. You'll see it in there. You'll see it first version will be when you click on a specific listing, and you know how it opens up the right side panel thing. You'll see it'll say trends, and you'll be able to actually see, okay, this ornament got 1 sale today, 2 sales yesterday, and then 0 sales the other day before that. It's going to be really cool. It's just the beginning, but it's going to be really, really cool, I think, for sellers.
If you have an example of it, you can share your screen as well if you want to. You don't have to, but because if it's a new feature, it might be a bit hard to explain.
Maybe, Cassiy, do you have Everbee up by chance?
I do, but I honestly have only ever used the Chrome extension.
Ooh.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want to do it right now because I'm in a testing account right now, and I've been testing the heck out of it like the past 3 days, and I'm for sure.
Hang on, let me see.
Make sure you hide your shop and all that stuff, Cassiy. You can just click on hide shop.
Let's see.
We'll try it in the background. We'll carry on with some questions meanwhile. So if anyone's got questions about Everbee, now's the chance, and then we'll do some shop reviews soon as well. We do have Shopify stores, Chris, to get you excited.
Let's go. Nice.
So yeah, there's a few Shopify, Etsy that we'll go through.
Sweet.
I think there actually was a Mystic question for you, Chris. They said it's very cool. Do you see the amount of credits increasing with the $9 option, $750 currently? Free version is 500 credits.
Yeah, I tried joining the chat, but something's not working. But yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, we are actively, it's like our top priority right now is not just increasing the number of credits, but also allowing or enabling unlimited relaxed generations. So yes, yeah, we're definitely working to increase that and lower the credit costs for everything.
Okay. So relaxed generation, does that mean it's going to cost less or less credits?
Relax. It'll be like the credits will just go towards like the fast generations, and then you'll be able to do separately, like a different mode, you'll be able to do unlimited relaxed generations. So for people that are on like free accounts, or, you know, if they're making a ton of designs and they want to save on credits, then they can do that. It just takes a little bit longer. But
okay.
Our main goal was, as we've been building it, is start first with getting the workflow down and really listening to the users on exactly what they needed and doing that and nothing more. And now our second step is lowering and like improving the efficiency of everything. So there's,
I might be making this up, but I also remember you saying, or someone saying, that if a result is like wrong or misspelled or whatever,
yeah,
you can get the credit back.
Yeah, if the results are wrong, the customer success team at Mystic, they're awesome. They do such a great job. And if you write to them with like any listing or any design that like misgenerated or background removal went wrong or anything like that, you just write to them and they'll reimburse all the credits for it.
That's awesome. That's a really cool feature.
So Carla has a question she's asked twice. As POD sellers, do you track EBITDA on a month-over-month basis or strictly net profit? It's a good question. I don't think many people would know how to have this conversation.
I think I'll explain what those terms mean. to begin with.
EBITDA is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization, and MOM is month-over-month basis, or strictly net profit. So it's a really good question. First off, I recommend when you're tracking your P&L, doing it on an accrual basis. This was something that I learned the hard way when we went to sell our first brand. We had everything on a cash basis, which just meant as things are coming out of the account, that was the amount, that was the month that it was counted in. But accrual basis is how any potential buyer wants to see the books, which is the month that the expense or the revenue was like accrued or realized. So that's one thing that'll save you a lot of time. And then, yeah, we track just net profit on a month-over-month basis, and then EBITDA annually.
And I'll make some comments there too. That's great, Chris. I agree with what Chris mentioned. By the way, CAC stands for customer acquisition cost, for anyone who doesn't know, and then LTV stands for lifetime value of a customer. Like how much is a customer going to pay you over over the lifetime of them being a customer? Yeah, I think I agree with Chris's comment on the accrual basis versus the cash basis. P&L, by the way, Chris dropped that term. If no one knows what that is, it's a profit and loss statement. It's a financial statement that it's important, depending on where your journey, to understand what that is. But essentially, I think the answer would be probably if you're having revenue, you shouldn't worry about this too early. Like worry about like when you get to a certain revenue amount, maybe 20,000 a month, Chris. I don't know if you'd agree. Something like this, where you're actually running, like I feel like you're running a business that's kind of high revenue. Get off cash basis into accrual basis. Typically, you don't want to do this yourself. Hire a bookkeeper to do this, or someone experienced. I've started multiple businesses and ran businesses, and I still get so lost in the bookkeeping process and like all this stuff. So don't even worry about it. Like pay someone $500 a month to take care of all of this for you. It's well worth it. And then do we track it on a month-over-month basis or strict net profit? Personally, I've always done like on a monthly basis, net profit and EBITDA, but it's kind of the same thing in my businesses mostly. So typically I just want to look at my margins, like what are my profit margins at the end of the month, right? How much did I profit? What was that margin? Was it 30%, 20%, 10%? I want to make sure that thing doesn't dip down too much so I can just operate my business effectively. And then do I bother with CAC to LTV ratio on a month-over-month basis? Not on a month-to-month basis, more a quarterly basis. I would do it. I want to understand for depends on the business, but 3-to-1 ratio CAC to LTV is a nice ratio to have. You can Google that if you guys want more details, but I wouldn't really go below 3-to-1. I think you'll have a cash restraint in your business if you go below a 3-to-1 CAC to LTV ratio. Hopefully that helps.
And if you're sitting there, a new person, you're like, what are these people talking about? If you're just getting started with print on demand, like don't be intimidated by what just happened. The biggest thing for you to know as a new seller is that you do need to be tracking your income versus your expenses every month. Whether you do that super basic, you do need to understand if you're making money or losing money, because I see a lot of new sellers not track this for months and then not understand that maybe their Etsy ads weren't as profitable as they thought, and they actually end up losing money for a month and feeling really discouraged. So I would recommend anyone who's watching this to just once a month, the first week of the next month, just go figure out what you spent on all this stuff, what you actually made, and see what profit you're making, because it's going to give you a good health checkup on your business. You just don't want to let that go too long. But I did pull up Everbee with their new trends. If Philip, you want to share my shared screen, I can show what that looks like real quick.
There we go.
So for anyone who wasn't here maybe a second ago, Everbee's adding a new feature. It's not on the Google Chrome version just yet, but they're adding a new trends version. So here I just opened Everbee's app and clicked on a random baby blanket. And when you scroll down on the right, it's actually going to show you how many times this sold each day. So on October 25th, it sold 58 times. On October 28th, it sold 70 times. And so this is going to show you the seasonality. So what this tells me about this blanket in October is that maybe it's starting to sell better now as we're getting closer to the holidays. But it looks like you will be able to potentially change this date, Cody. Or is this
that's actually going to be a filter, just like any other time filter. You'll be able to look back in the history of the listing. So we just haven't released it quite yet because we're in testing. But yeah, absolutely. You'll be able to see like what it did last quarter 4. and the quarter 4 before that, and basically tinker with the dates however you want.
That's amazing. So that's my favorite thing that Etsy has ever added is on the listings. It tells you this item sold 25 times today. It used to only ever be like 20 plus in the cart, and that was it. But now sometimes you're finding items, like especially this week, it's really starting to take off, where they say, sold 56 times today. Like that's really going to be a great thing to use, because now you can see what they sold yesterday and the day before. Like, is this just a viral product that took off today? Does it sell really consistent? So I think this is a really cool addition to Everbee, Cody.
Thank you. Yeah, it's honestly, personally, it's funny. We designed this for myself, selfishly, but I knew that it was beneficial for us as sellers too. So it's something that I've wanted. Even if no one uses it, I'll still get a whole bunch of value out of it. So thanks for sharing that, Cassiy.
Yeah, super cool. Thanks for
for the demo. That's great. I'm just looking for a new question, or maybe we'll start on the shop reviews because we've got a few to go through.
I do have to jump, guys, but just want to say thank you so much for having me on. Appreciate y'all, and thanks for
coming on.
Yeah,
good.
See y'all soon. See you guys.
Bye, Cody.
See you,
Bye, Cody.
Bye.
Present. All right, just to figure out which one to share. We'll start off with a Shopify, because why not? Since we've got Chris here before he has to leave as well.
Let's do it.
Audio,
I think we're all gonna ditch you soon.
be here on my own. Right.
Upa.
Put that to this side. Okay, cute.
Beach hoodies.
Cute, trendy hoodies. Yeah, beach hoodies. An interesting angle, isn't it?
Yeah.
First impressions. What do we think?
Beach hoodies. I hope they're very, very thin as hoodies for the beach. But
Yeah, well,
is that supposed to be like beach designs on hoodies, or is that a hoodie you're supposed to take to the beach?
Can we go to like one of the
Sure,
collection pages, like maybe an all products page? Oh wow.
Shop all. By the way, first impressions, I thought that the home screen, the homepage looked good. Nice design.
Yeah. And then are you on Chrome, Philip?
Yes.
Could you right click just anywhere and then do inspect?
Inspect element.
No, I put it in. I always look at it on mobile because 80+% of our traffic on Shopify always, yeah. So this is how the vast majority of people are actually shopping. And then, so I'll just go from top to bottom. So we drive all of our traffic to collection pages. It just converts better and has a higher average order value. So this is the screen. I'm picturing a phone. This is what people who are landing on your site, this is going to be their very first impression. So starting from the very top, instead of having welcome, overall, I like it, but I'll just go through a bunch of I'll rattle off a laundry list of things. Yeah, starting at the very top, this announcement bar, we like to utilize that for free shipping threshold. Like we set ours to $75. It depends entirely on what your costs are, shipping rates, and all of that. But 75 gets us to our average order value that we shoot for, which is about $45. Then going down to the logo, I would shrink down the logo because if you scroll a little bit, Philip, and then scroll back up a tiny bit, yeah, if you scroll like halfway down, it'll show it. And then scroll up just a tiny bit. Yeah, see how it pops down? That it doesn't seem like a big deal when we have like a desktop, but on mobile, that's taking up like the top quarter of their screen. So if you just shrink the logo, it'll help with that a lot. The overall name of the game is just simplicity, like we've been talking about earlier. Then next on the names of the products, it's not like Etsy or Merch by Amazon. I simplify all of them down to like 2 to 3 words max. It doesn't need to be
30 t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
And then just making the naming convention consistent. So not calling some a tee, others a t-shirt, or tees, like just naming all of them the same thing. But yeah, 2 to 3 words. And then as for pricing, we price ours. It depends on what your costs are, but we sell our tees at $29.99. And then you can split test the choose options. button there. We found that people actually don't really use them when it comes to apparel. Most people are adding to cart from the product page. So by removing that, again, everything that I'm saying, I would recommend just testing it. Watch your conversion rate before and after you make the changes. But removing the choose options would be one good one. And then making the price a different color from the title. So like making it black or something that stands out a little bit more. And scrolling a little bit further down. I like the mock-ups overall, which that would be something that I would watch the conversion rate, specifically the add to cart rate heavily. Because we break down the conversion rate into add to cart, initiate checkout, and reach checkout, and like converted. So add to cart rate would be the one that would be impacted by all these things we're talking about. And if you click on one of the pages,
the designs look nice.
Yeah, they do.
It's fairly simple as well, right? What we talked about earlier. 2 colors.
Yeah.
The layout isn't too cluttered. Nice fonts.
Nice Jersey Shore. Yeah, so here I like the other images. I would get rid of your brand name above it. Cute, trendy hoodies. You can just disable that in your product settings.
Oh, this bit.
Yep, right there. And then shop pay installments, I turn that off entirely because Shopify kind of pushes that, and like they're taking up prime real estate and not that many people use it. So I just disable that. Then as for colors, we'd want to shrink down these pills, either switch to drop downs or do like color swatches. So it's like the little circles, then removing the quantity selector. This helps us get back some space because they'll buy more than one thing on your site, but it's very rare that they'll buy the exact same product, same design, same size, and same color. So you only really need you don't need a quantity selector basically.
Also, if they want to buy more than one, I think most people understand the fact that they can go to cart and add another one from the cart itself.
Yep.
Basically, the goal here is less space between the mock-up and the add to cart because there's a lot of clutter here, right?
Yeah.
So there's too much space between like the colors, like because if I'm at the colors, even if I'm at the lowest, like the highest point of seeing all the colors, I don't think I can see the colors changing that much.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, if you click
like
through
it's not that visible. If you would have erased that cute trendy hoodies thing, if you would erase that shop thing, it would have been higher. So I can actually see a difference if I switch between the colors to see the colors. Switch on the hoodie.
Also, shorter title would help with that as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If you didn't have 2 lines here.
Yeah, you could just do Atlantic City hoodie. Would be perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else down here?
Yeah.
There's
So
a link to Etsy.
Etsy.
Oh yeah, delete.
Why?
Yeah, delete that right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, all of this. There's good stuff in here, good things to have, but just consolidating it a lot. So going back up to the top of the description, right here, I would have like 4 to 5 bullet points with emojis calling out like the key product features, like super short, succinct, like 6 to 8 words per line, no more. And then, yeah, taking all the other information and putting it into accordions or like drop down.
Definitely not a keyword stack. I mean, Jersey Shore tee sweatshirt, bestie hoodie, respect the local hoodie, ocean beach sweatshirt. This is just a dump of keywords.
Yeah, I think it's import.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that looks like it is. Do they have a mock-up of this on a guy, or is it only on a girl?
No, it's just the colors and girls.
Okay, so don't call something unisex because it was stated that it's a unisex. Yeah, I would never post the word unisex unless I show it on both genders because it's a different fit on a man or something.
I think it is important to know that it's unisex sizing, though, compared to women's sizing, because that can fit different, though.
Yeah, but if it's unisex sizing and if it's a unisex sizing, why not show it on a man?
Yeah, but if it's like a design meant just for a woman, but it happens to be unisex sizing, I think that might be fair.
Why is there also so much gap between the texts? Like if you go down, like what is that?
Yeah, I think it's just copy and paste.
Yeah, someone copy paste from Etsy.
And it's.
Please read the full description.
I would pretty much remove all of this.
Yeah.
Oh wow, this hoodie sweatshirt is not oversized. See, the sizing is not oversized. They wrote something like this. If you go up a little bit, this hoodie sweatshirt sizing is not oversized. But then they wrote up that it's an oversized sweatshirt. Now, if I were to go to a store and I would see that something, because they wrote oversized hoodie in one of the places in the text, If I would go somewhere and it says an oversized hoodie, this hoodie is not oversized, I would leave the store. Like, you lose credibility when you contradict yourself, because higher up, they did say that it's oversized, like an oversized hoodie. They wrote it a lot higher, I think, at the beginning. So if you write that something is oversized, and then you say that it isn't oversized.
This is an example.
Wow.
That drop down. This is what we want. We want to have like 3 of these. And when you delete all the stuff that's above it, these drop downs will then be like immediately underneath your add to cart button.
Is that
what you want?
Is that a different language, or is that, what is that? Souffle croissant, donut
sweet shortbread gummy bears. Okay.
I thought it was a bit lorem ipsum at the beginning, but yeah.
I think it's filler text. Right? I don't know what happened here, but it's not.
Lemon
Maybe
drops pudding
still in
Danish
the
is a very good shipping policy.
Yeah, so the drop downs that we have is shipping details is a good one to have when it doesn't mention croissants. And then
and lemon lollipops.
And then sizing, and then one about our return policy. Those are 3 good ones to start with. And then having just your short 4 to 5 bullet points with emojis. Keeping in mind that this is not, we don't care about, it depends on what your traffic strategy is, but we drive all of ours from Facebook and email marketing and Google. So we don't really care about SEO. So I don't care about like keywords and stuff, including it. It's different than with Etsy. And then the share button, we get rid of this, because picturing all this should be all directly underneath the add to cart button. So getting rid of the share button. And then you might also like the recommended product section, making it the same color. We don't need it a different background color here. And then if you want to scroll down a little bit more, Philip.
Yeah.
There was actually an issue up there. If we can go back, if you go back to the starred thing, the last 3 starred, please make sure this information is correct before placing your order. Please make sure your information is correct. Please read our FAQs and policies. If you write something that you want people to read, then it needs to be under that, and it's not. As always, please contact me. I feel like a lot of people don't really make the transition from a personal person who's selling something to a brand. I'm not saying like, I don't think none of this should be written here, but if you are coming as a brand, as Cute Hoodies, or I forgot the name of that brand, you should never say me.
Yeah, contact
unless you're selling, contact us for things. Yeah. But again, a lot of this I feel like is from handmade Etsy 10 years ago. Like it looks like an Etsy listing from 10 years ago, the phrasing of these things. Because there is no FAQ section under this for this product.
Yeah.
I mean, the product page is done.
I think that was a ton of tips there. So we'll probably move on to the next store. But yeah, I mean, it probably sounds very negative, but I think generally the designs are decent.
The design is cute.
The branding looks good. The homepage looked great to me. It's just tidying up some of the messy product pages, because this is where people buy, right? So you want these to be as good as possible.
Yeah, and the most important thing by far is the quality of the designs. Everything that we're talking about is just things that'll improve the conversion rate. And conversion rate optimization comes down to a million little things. Which is why looking at sites, it's normally like just a laundry list of stuff. It's not that overall, I think you're heading in a great direction. And everything we just talked about is like very learnable skills. You just
like everything we said is like literally something that the person can remove in like a few minutes. Like all the comments, all the bad negative comments were things that the person can just go and delete or rearrange. It wasn't like the designs are bad or like we don't like anything. It was easily fixed issues.
Chris, do you have a video on how to optimize some of these things? Because she said, I appreciate all the advice. I just need to know how to do the page edits. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's in the 21-hour free course.
In there somewhere.
Yeah.
Timestamp.
If you spend a full day, you'll be able to find the answer for sure.
Yeah.
I saw that you have the 21-hour video. I'm like, okay, wow, that's
it's supposed to have timestamps.
Really big.
Yeah, it's supposed to have timestamps, but yeah, or you can just watch the full 21 hours and it's in there somewhere. Now it's broken down. If the timestamps aren't working on the video, if you go to the first comment, it breaks down the sections with timestamps.
Yeah, and the description as well. The description of the video has the timestamps in it. I think just on the actual player, they're broken for some reason. Yeah.
Can I ask how long did it take you to produce the 21 hours video?
I'm curious about that.
I mean, we're YouTubers here. I have like YouTubers questions.
End to end, like the team was
From the
editing
beginning,
as
from
we were
scripting.
filming.
From the
What's that?
beginning, from the very beginning, from scripting idea to to uploaded to YouTube, all of it. How long?
Probably like a month and a half.
Okay.
And
A
we're
month
doing
and
it
a
again
half
right
or
now.
working on
What?
it a little bit, or a month and a half only doing this.
That is impressive.
Why?
I'd have
Is
thought
that,
way
is that
longer.
long or is that short?
Shorter
That's
than
short
I
for me.
expected.
Oh, well, I had I wasn't doing any of the video editing or anything. Like the team,
Ah,
like,
okay.
it would have taken me 10
You-
years. It was just me. The
And you
team
had no
made it
live
that
for a
far.
month, I'm guessing.
What's that?
And you didn't have a live for about a month and a half.
Still
I'm
don't,
guessing.
but yeah, for a month and a half. Yeah.
Right, I'm posting a link to it because some people are asking.
Stephanie was asking where people can find. Oh, you already posted.
Oh, wait.
it.
Did
I just went to Chris's channel at the beginning and just clicked on the most popular video, and it's there.
Yeah, this is not even the course. I posted the channel link. Sorry, it's the most popular one. Whoops! I'll try and copy it without my timestamp. There we go.
Can you find the correct timestamp for the question and put it
No,
there?
screw it. But it's somewhere. I have been watching it. It is somewhere like halfway through. If that helps, it's where he goes through this stuff.
And there's a checklist, a Shopify checklist that goes. It's like over 100 bullet points that you can get. It's a spreadsheet, so you can go through the setup and just tick the boxes as you go through.
Yeah. There is another Shopify store. I'll share.
Wow, lucky day.
Tested. Is it working?
He's got to use you while he has you, you know.
I love it. I get to not be on mute the whole time.
This is coffee blends. Got mugs.
Adobe?
Yeah,
Is
that confused
Adobe?
me a little bit. Adobe Dregs Coffee. Mugs and merch, t-shirts and hoodies, stash. And
Embrace the beans. I like that one.
Huh.
Are they allowed to use Adobe there?
So it looks like it's an actual coffee store, right?
Yeah.
Unless this is
Oh.
really good
You
AI.
have print-on-demand coffee. You're just basically labeling the. It's one of those like the consumables. You can actually sell coffee beans, and you design like the box.
Yeah, Printify has them.
I think also Zazzle has them. I think Sticker Mule. No, I think Sticker Mule has the sauce. But I think a lot of companies are starting like consumables right now. Embrace the beans.
Here's
you can
a good
always
tip
tell-
for anybody who's starting with Shopify or just has a product idea in mind. Like coffee is a good example, and I can give feedback on like how well I think that'll perform, but that'd just be based on my subjective opinion. The way that you can get feedback from the market very quickly and cost effectively is taking like all the product images that you have and throwing them in a low budget testing campaign in Facebook. And even before you put it up like on the site and do all the work that you've already done, next time that you have new product ideas, throw it in an ad and just see what the response is. Just see what the cost per clicks are. Like that's what we did with a lot of our old stores. If we had an idea before we would go out and build out, like for example, we did a tie-dye brand before we built the whole store, set up the supply chain and everything. We just launched some ads with just mock-ups like that, very basic, just to see, is there demand for this at all? Do people like the thing that we're about to put out there? And then when we see if the cost per clicks are like 50 to 75 cents in the US, then that's a good sign that there's something there. And then we'll turn off the ads and then go and build out the site. And that's a really good way that you can save yourself a ton of time. I know it's intimidating anytime we talk about Facebook ads, but it doesn't have to be. Again, 21-hour course hopefully makes it user-friendly. It's somewhere in there. Could be hour 3 or 21, but it's in there. But yeah, launching with low budget testing ads helps you save a ton of time to validate if the product is something that's worthwhile or not. So me personally, when I look at the coffee, I don't know how well it'll do, but it's definitely something I would test.
Did you notice the logo on banner similar thing? Like it was identical?
Yeah,
On the homepage? The logo is on a banner and they're just identical. It just looks like the photo is like repeating itself in echo or something.
yeah, on the other layout.
If you went to the main page, both layouts, even mobile and desk, see?
Yeah,
The logo is
it
the
seems a
banner.
little strange.
Even when you go to mobile, it even looks a bit off, more off if you go to mobile view.
Yeah,
See?
yeah. True. I would definitely.
I would
change
definitely
that.
not use a photo as a logo. I mean, a logo should be something that is the name of the company and is readable. Like a logo is not a photo that represents the logo, I guess.
Yeah. So going top to bottom, starting with the announcement bar at the top you were just looking at, Philip. If that's the case that you're only able to ship to the US, you can set up. You should set up like blocking traffic from other countries. Now, if that's just for one product type,
No, but these are just for the coffee blends because they do have
yeah.
mugs and hoodies and t-shirts here. Yeah.
Yeah, just for one product type, I've gone the route of trying to block specific collections for some countries, but it's possible, but it is a like a technical nightmare. It's much easier said than done. So just something
But
to
what
keep
if
in
you
mind.
want to buy something for someone? Like, what if I'm in Bulgaria and I want to buy this coffee for a friend in the US?
Yeah, I would just block it. The
Okay.
US is big enough. And that's on it. That's where we start. We start with validating every idea with just US traffic, and then once we know we have something there, if there's with print on demand, it's easy. You can just expand internationally very quickly. But if it's other product types, then you're looking at like building out a supply chain internationally, which is just a whole nother can of worms. But on the site specifically, that announcement bar, back to everybody's on mobile, that's their first impression of your brand. So that's not what we want to have there. We want to have something like about a discount or deal or free shipping. And then next, the logo. I'll just take the Adobe Dregs coffee, just that text. That's a fine logo for a starting point. That should be what's in the banner or in the logo header. Yeah. And then if you go to the collection page, let's just go to the apparel collection page. Yeah. So one, make the whole site, the background should be white and not black. You can Google, there's lots of split tests on this about white versus dark background sites, and white, long story short, white converts better. It looks cool, but white converts better. That's what we care about. And then next on the, is this a product page or a collection page?
It's just a t-shirt and hoodie stash. That's all it is.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah. One, I would get mock-ups, not just the normal, just white background. That maybe this is from Printify, but having a really good mock-up is key, like we've already talked about. Then next is having two products side by side. We don't want to just have one where they're scrolling through. Get rid of the product description there. Set the prices to be higher than they are. Remove unisex soft style from the product title. It should just be whatever those first couple words are, and then t-shirt. That should be the product title. And then yeah, two products side by side. Get rid of the descriptions. We can click on a product page.
All right, change that again. There we go. This is the mobile view.
That's interesting. Is this Shopify?
It looks different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe it isn't.
Yeah, so we want to have one primary product photo that's filling the full screen. The title should be larger. Like, it's very easy to skip over that. Yeah, and then I do like the color swatches. This is what we were talking about on the previous store. This looks really nice. And then I like the scrolling add to cart button that they have at the bottom, sticky scrolling add to cart. But we want to have that just show up once they start scrolling, and we should still have a static add to cart or call to action button on the page. Yeah, like it should be somewhere around there. Same thing as before, remove the quantity selector. Yeah, the add to cart button should be directly above the payment icons you have.
I don't think this is Shopify.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I checked. I'm looking at the built with data for this website. So it says that the content delivery network and the content management system is GoDaddy Website Builder. It is connected to my Shopify for like it's a verified link to my Shopify. But
domain, right?
yeah, it's GoDaddy Websites, the management system.
We were fooled. Well,
Okay.
but
Yeah, first step then.
Built
Scratch
with
everything
never
else,
fails.
switch to Shopify.
Yeah.
But generally, this product page looks a bit tidier and cleaner than the previous one we looked at, right? So
Yeah, and it's just all that it's doing is just a lot simpler.
yeah, cool. And
I would definitely add recommended products at the bottom too.
Yeah, underneath this, and you would have this sticky one and one on the page because some people wouldn't find this sticky one, or why?
Yeah, you want to have one. The sticky is optional. The one you absolutely definitely want to have is one that's static on the page, like sitting right above just like a normal Shopify page.
Yeah, it's like a reflex. You want to click somewhere here, but it's missing, right?
Yeah, and it should be color isolated, meaning it's the only color. That color that appears on the button should not appear anywhere else on the site, so it really stands out like a sore thumb. And then it should be the same color call to action button at every step in the funnel. So on the product page, the cart page, checkout should be the same exact shade. Especially for Shopify sellers, something to look at is your checkout button color. It's under a different umbrella of settings, so that's a common one that people miss. And so it'll be like green button, like turquoise blue, and it's just weird, like lack of congruency through the funnel.
Like a really bright color, ideally. You used a bright green in your course, right? So
yeah, like green or red are two go-tos.
Okay, cool. Let's jump, unless you've got something else to look at, we could jump to some Etsy stores.
I think the biggest advice for that was to switch to Shopify, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
And honestly, most of the stuff that we're talking about, if you just go with like the basic Shopify theme,
yeah,
it looks like a 5th grade computer science project, but it converts really well. Like it's super simple, but I used to make big, beautiful sites that I thought were cool. Again, designing for myself and not others. And it converted terribly. And then when I finally just one day stripped everything out, conversion rate skyrocketed. Because you have to keep in mind that what we're doing, it depends on your traffic source. But if you're running Facebook ads, what you're doing is pattern interrupt or impulse buy shopping, which is very different than search, find, buy, like on Etsy, where people are seeking you out and then they're comparing you against the competition. We're getting in front of people who are in between scrolling cat videos and family photos, and then they're just seeing the design going, oh, I like that. And then the only question in their mind when it's a low price point product is like, do I trust this site? Does it actually meet what I was expecting? Is it a fast site? Is it easy to get the checkout? Those are the real things that people are looking for. And so it's how do we convey those things with as little text or like work on the shopper's end.
Right. Thanks for the breakdown of that store. Finally, we got Chris to review something.
Nice.
And now back to Etsy, so you can mute yourself.
Okay.
Bye. So we've got the first one here, which is Pub Style Heaven. 10 sales. Haven. Oh, yeah. I can't read. 10 sales, so probably new shop. Announcement was on the 30th of September. First of all, what we're thinking about the landing, the banner logo.
Says nothing about what's in the store. I mostly like banners that like if I see something like this, I would think it's for an artist, and that's like their abstract art style. For people who sell like clothes or several items, I would definitely like just either put 5 different mock-ups, or there are these mock-ups of like multiple people together. And also with the logo, it's not really readable. I feel like people are trying to make something like very complex, like a photo that shares the colors and has this, where you can do that when you're like putting banners in places and when you're putting it on Instagram or somewhere, but a logo has to be incredibly simple and readable right from the bat. And the banner should represent what is happening. Is there a sale happening right now? What are the products that are being sold? And I feel like I'm not seeing any of it here. And
yeah, so this is for anyone that loves dogs. And it doesn't sell the dogs aspect very much in the first view.
Yeah. Even if it just sent like a photo of dogs from like, I don't know, Pixabay.
Cassiy?
Yeah, I think a quick revamp to show some of your products is great for the banner, but on Etsy, your branding isn't quite as important as things like Shopify, since the majority of the time it is the search, find, buy, like Chris was talking about. And so just looking more at the listing, since a lot of people shop your listing more than your shop, I'd say is probably a little bit more important. Your branding is nice because people do come to your shop and shop your shop. So, it is good when they get there to see some things. So I like to do the Etsy Plus. So it's like $10 a month, but you get a bunch of free listings. You get some advertising budget for that. And it allows you to have 3 banners that you can actually scroll between, and then they're clickable. So you could be like, our Christmas collection's out now, shop now. And you can actually click it and it can bring you to a collection or it can bring you to a listing. So like in my mock-up store that I have on Etsy, I have my banner be an advertisement for my whole shop bundle, and then they can click it and go to that one listing. So I think I really like those types of banners. I just think they're nice. But coming down to your listings, I think some better mock-ups might be in order. I think these ones are okay, but the one with the 2 people, I think definitely is a problem. It's not really optimized for the thumbnail. You kind of have to think thumbnail first when it comes to Etsy. And so I think getting mock-ups that fit really well into the thumbnail, because you can see it's really small here on the screen. And you can kind of read that it says like Spooky Brew Crew, but I think a mock-up where it was maybe like a flat lay or people closer to each other would be a lot better for the thumbnail.
Yeah, they're kind of like turned away from the camera, and the center of the screen is just nothing. On a phone, I think you'd struggle to figure out what this is. One thing that caught my eye is this, in terms of the colors. I think the design doesn't work very well on this bright green shirt. So maybe like thinking more about your color choices or the primary thumbnail, the primary color for the thumbnail. That should always look best. I like the best kind of color for the design.
I'm putting together a training for my students on Tuesday. And so this is really fresh in my mind that on Etsy, I think it's really important to really design with your thumbnail in mind. So pick a proven combination for your thumbnail. So one proven combination in that type of niche is like a sand colored shirt with a brown design on it. That's really, really popular. Another one that's really popular just all the time is like a green colored shirt with white text. And so it's like knowing that your thumbnail image, the first one, is really optimized for what sells well, I think is important. I think it's fun that you have like a yellow shirt and a green shirt. But my guess is the reason you're doing this is because you want people to come to your store and you don't want everything to look the same. But if you actually look at the top stores on Etsy, 99% of the time, you're going to see the same mock-up over and over and over again. It's kind of like what Chris was saying with like keeping it really simple and optimized. Like it's easy to think like, oh, people think this, people think that, but it's like make all your decisions based on the research. The stores that are really successful find a few mock-ups that do really well for them, and they just use it over and over again because that one just converts super well. Like don't feel like you need to do a different mock-up for every single listing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and on the simplicity point as well, a lot of these designs are very cluttered and they have a lot of unnecessary effects, like a lot of drop shadows. The layout of this is quite confusing. Some of the fonts are very difficult to read, especially if you have smaller text like this or this right here. It's really important that the font is actually legible, which in these cases I think isn't really the case.
Like your Club Pups design, that one's really fun and simple. I maybe it's like up on the left there, the pillow, I think it is up to
this
that
one.
pillow. Yeah, I think it's a really good design. I probably would have made the Club Pups and the state, or if that's a dog, I would have made that white probably instead. Because again, just kind of keeping things simple, like an all white design on green. I think simple really does sell. Like that ornament, I can't quite read it because you're doing like a blue text on white isn't going to stand out as much as like black, for example. So I think just simplifying your designs a little bit could go a long way. Like really good, just like in your face text, but a little bit simpler and easier to read, I think it would go a long way in your store. But great job getting a bunch of listings out there. Like you're in a bunch of different niches. But I might kind of hone in on your product type. Because I think as a new seller, it can be really confusing to learn what sells well in a shirt, what sells well in a pillow, what sells well in a mug, what sells well in an ornament. I think you're spreading yourself a little bit thin. I think you can have multi-product stores on Etsy, and I do recommend that. But I think starting out, picking one product and getting really good at it first can make a really big difference to optimize for that.
Hey guys, I know you guys really need my expertise for the Etsy reviews.
No, don't leave.
I do have another meeting I have to hop off for.
That's fine.
But thank you for having me, Phil. It's nice chatting with you guys. Thank you, everybody who's watching. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you, Chris. Bye.
I feel like this video is soon going to be just Philip and Casey and Cassiy.
Why are you leaving as well? What are you saying? I'm going to start crying.
Well, I've been up for like. I've been working since 4 a.m.
4 a.m.
Were you in Bulgaria?
Say again.
It's 7 p.m. now, and I've been working since 4 a.m.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, if you
I've been doing 16, 17-hour days almost the last 2 weeks since I recovered, just to catch up. And the minute that I had some time to rest, they did the merger. So, yeah.
Damn. How long were you out for?
Like having a knackered for the half thing.
Did you miss like 3 weeks? But if you have to leave, if you want to leave,
I'll see. Are we doing more shop reviews, or are you skipping to the other questions?
There is like 1 or 2 more Etsy shops. Maybe we'll
someone commented it's dinner time here in Bulgaria. I agree.
Yeah, this is like 7 o'clock for you now.
Yeah, 7.
7.
Good seeing some Bulgarian people here presenting the motherland.
Yeah. Let us know if there's anyone else watching from Bulgaria.
People all around the world. This is so fun.
Yeah. So we've got Bulgaria, we've got UK and North America, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but the two of us don't live in the country where we're from.
Oh, that's funny. You know, actually, who else is here is Jenny from the shop, just popped up in the comments. She lives in Greece. And then Andreas, who's also a YouTuber, is in Sweden, is here on the live as well. So we've got YouTubers even just all around the world, all here live, which is fun.
That's awesome.
Hello, everybody.
If any of the YouTubers watching want to join this, by the way, in the future, you can do. Just reach out. Like, the more, the merrier. And since everyone's dropping off, we need more people.
So no one's going to leave you alone.
Well, we are at the 2-hour mark, so let's look at the next couple Etsy shops, and we can hop off soon. We don't need to keep people here all day, but this is fun too.
Yeah, it's coming
do another shop with you, and then I'm gonna.
So we'll do this, and then
we'll
start closing the stream. So we've got
the first thing I'll say about this banner is that the goose trend on Etsy has been bonkers for the last year. So I love that you hopped on the goose trend and put that right in your banner there. That's so funny. I've not seen that one. And so I love that kind of play on the silly goose trend. Festive goose on the loose. Oh my gosh.
Also you have great. Like the announcement thing. Remember, you see that? Please order by December 9th to ensure your items arrive before Christmas. I feel like you guys talked about it in the last council, because I wasn't in the last one. I was still sick, but I was watching it. So you guys were talking about if it's a smart thing or not to just put the cutoff date or something like that much in advance. And also, I don't know where they're shipping to or what products they're shipping, but is that the cutoff date for everything, no matter where I'm from? So I don't know if I would put it that much there. I would just write Christmas is coming, like shop fast or something, and then maybe put it in individual items, not in like the main header.
Okay.
Yeah, I think December 9th is a pretty safe cutoff date. You know, I doubt this person's shipping internationally. Maybe they are, but a lot of Etsy sellers do just sell to the US, so that could be why.
If you're doing it, like if it would have been Printful and it's in Europe, I think from ordering something to getting it here, the longest I've ever had to wait was 9 days. From like including production, the longest I had to wait is 9 days.
Even in peak time, like even if you order early December,
the longest I had to wait was 9 days.
Nice.
I don't think I've ever gotten anything after 9 days. So yes, December 9th is definitely like a safe cutoff, but I don't know if I would put it in in the title. I would not try it because I get the whole like, let's get people to start buying sooner. But maybe I'll just say like, start your Christmas shop early, or make sure you have all the goodies for Christmas. I wouldn't put a cutoff date, but I would put like buy now, not buy by December 9th, but get it now.
Also,
Okay.
I'd say this banner is a better example of an Etsy banner to the previous one, because you have
Yep.
you have something about the brand, you have examples of actual products and designs.
I like the anti-Klaus.
The anti-Klaus, and it also matches the mock-ups very well, like the color scheme.
Oh, literally, you just said you like green and the beige brown.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Green, white, beige, brown.
Green are like the best thumbnail images to use on Etsy this year, especially those folded mock-ups that she's using, the top left one.
That's why you're wearing your sweater? Did you match like the colors of your sweater to the colors that are trending on Etsy?
That's funny. Yeah. I think this is
both did.
But yeah, no, the green and the white. Your mock-ups look great. I love that you're using like proven mock-ups. I think that's awesome. I see a lot of great things here. Personalization on a lot of things. You're doing sleeve prints, which is a great value add. I will say there's a teeny bit of problem with being able to read things from the thumbnail. So like looking at that coquette football one on the right in the green, the pink isn't so easy to read. I probably would have just done white text on the sleeve. Again, I think the pink and pink is cute, but we need to optimize for easy to read. And if you scroll up a little bit, a few of your ornaments, the top ones, I can't read what those say. So being really careful with the text that you use is important, because ornaments are already really small. I think the mock-ups are great, but I think simplifying your design a little bit would have been better, because I can't read what those say. I'm assuming it says our first Christmas is Mr. and Mrs., but it doesn't quite catch your attention when you're scrolling through. You kind of want big, bold. I think your ornament below that, the our first Christmas engaged, super easy to read. I can read that one.
And just as a note there, the reason being, like, I don't think the text size is that much different, but here it's a more of a wider font. Right, and this is a very, very condensed one. If you've got teeny tiny text, condensed fonts tend to be way harder to read, especially if they're this thin. Stick to something that is the opposite of condensed.
Also, the mistake in the banner is brilliant, because if you look at the engaged one, it's actually showing us a cutoff of that banner, right? If you look at the right side of it, it shows the banner was cut off from the main image. Like it says like ships fast. If you go down to the engaged ornament.
Oh, you're just saying the little ornament there. Yeah, the ships fast. Yeah, it wasn't optimized.
So because it was cut off, it's not perfect, which is why you would look at it more. So the non-perfect things attract more attention, because if you look at all of these like 12 different photos, the first thing I looked at was the engaged one, and it wasn't because the word drew my attention. It was because there is like a mistake in the alignment of this like thumbnail or cover image, which is if it was I used to do these things a few years ago on purpose.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a great trick with psychology. Even when I was working for big media companies, we would actually see better results with a photo that has a little bit of a mistake on it on Facebook ads. This, I don't know if that person did it on purpose, but this is brilliant, because that's the first thing you see, because it also has your instinct to want to click on it, because you see a text that starts somewhere, but you can't really read the text, like the ship's fast. You can't really read it because the SH is missing. And then there are things on the side. It's kind of like that old blogging trick where you would put like text and then a photo that goes down, but you can't see how the photo ends. You have to continue scrolling. So if you're looking at this, the text is missing. You see some stuff on the side. It has so many information, and you don't have that information. Psychologically, you would want to click. So that mistake, if it was a mistake, leave it. It's brilliant. And don't make all of them in this mistake. It's good to have just some of these spread around, because it's kind of like snaps out. If a person is like scrolling, this will snap them out and make them stop.
That's interesting. And I wonder what you think about that as well, Cassiy, because in this case where you can barely read the text, I would have thought, people will have that psychological thing of like, I want to know what it says. They'll click on it, and then potentially, because that says first Christmas, that's not what they're looking for. It's quite an important part of the design, right? It's about someone's first Christmas as Mr. and Mrs. So
I
they
think
click
Etsy,
out of
it's more
curiosity.
about, oh, go ahead.
So they click out of curiosity and then are less likely to convert because it's a very specific design for that, right?
Potentially. I'd say, you know, when you're shopping on Etsy, again, people are coming here for something really specific. You know, in that case, someone probably is looking for a first Christmas engaged ornament. Like they might even literally type that in. And so when you're stacked up against your competition, you know, like looking at your store right now is fun, but this isn't where most of your customers are going to find you. It's by finding your store first and looking through your shop. That's very unlikely. So it's going to be you next to a bunch of other ornaments that maybe they can read really easy from the thumbnail that catches their attention. So, you know, I wouldn't say necessarily that it's going to like get them to click on it with the text being smaller. I think that's going to hurt your conversion rate of someone clicking it in the first place. But I do think she has a really great way of adding value. I think that's important. You know, we were kind of talking about that earlier. You know, I like that you did the Roman numerals hoodies. Those sell super well, but you added your own little value there with the custom state sleeve. So I think you've got a good grasp on how to add value. I can definitely tell you're doing your research. You know, you're doing like the coquette, the bows, you're mixing that with other niches. That's super, super smart. You're doing the social club style. You're doing the in my era and mixing that with other things. So I think you're really, really on the right track with combining different elements of things that you've seen be successful in unique ways. I think you're doing a good job. I love that you're running a daily or some kind of sale. I know we're not opening any of your listings. Running a sale in your shop is really great. I think your mock-ups are really great. You're doing pocket designs and back designs. Looks like you're mostly focusing on one product, which is mostly apparel. I love to see that. So I think I'm seeing a lot of really good things here. Can you see how old this shop is, Philip? You can click on one of your listings and then use the Everbee analyze feature, analyze listing, and then go to shop details. It's up at the top. 16 months. So yeah, I think you're doing a lot of stuff. You know, I don't know how many of these listings are new versus old, but I think you're really on the right track with what you're doing. You're using all your mock-ups.
Yeah, and the designs are also great, like very simple, not too overdone like some of the other examples we had. Most of them are just one or two colors. Yeah, awesome. I think that concludes this shop review. Right, I think this is a good example of a shop that's heading in the right direction, and I hope you have a good Q4.
We're already 1 month and 1 week down from Q4.
The peak's still still to come. Well, thanks to everyone who submitted stores. I know we didn't do all of them, but we'll do these live streams again in future. So you can always resubmit your shop. Let's have a quick look at the chat, see if we've got any final questions, and then
You guys, you said at the beginning, maybe we should do personal questions. So if you didn't come up with things, maybe we should just ask people to ask.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, now is a good time. I know I saw someone ask me if I do shop reviews. Unfortunately, no, I don't offer individual shop reviews at this time. If you are a member of my print on demand roadmap course, oh man, now I'm so close. For my course students, I do have my coach, my assistant coach, Sam, does shop reviews for people in my community. So if you happen to be in my community, I do offer shop reviews, but not just on my channel, no. I don't know if either of you offer shop reviews.
I'm getting back to that next year. I used to do a lot more of that. I'm getting back to that next year. I have like, I think I already had like 500 people submit across the board. And I'm like, I just didn't have time for that. I was like just drowning and catching up with content, but yeah. I'll probably go back to that in 2025. I'm thinking about doing like a monthly segment or something.
I don't do it specifically. I've got a coaching booking form, but I've got very limited coaching time at the minute as well. But yeah, you could technically book it for a shop review. But yeah, if anyone's got any personal questions, anything funny to end on, perhaps. Otherwise, we'll probably.
Someone asked, Graphy Cage, just how many items do you recommend a new shop sales in the first month? So I think I'm going to try and read through like how many items do you need to add to your shop to get sales in your first month, I think is what you're asking. And obviously it depends on where you're selling. This can really change. And if you're selling on Shopify and you're running Facebook ads, you know, you could have a couple products in your store, run a bunch of Facebook ads and get sales really quickly. I'd say with Etsy, and that's where my experience lies, as a new seller, I'd say it's really normal for it to take 2 to 4 weeks to even get your first sale. It takes a minute to have Etsy index your products, start showing them, understand who might want to buy that product. If you run Etsy ads, that can speed up the process. But I'd say if you really want to have a really good start on Etsy, where I started was my first month, I got about 50 products up and I sold about 40 items, which was one of those listings. So out of my 50 listings I did, basically only one of them really sold. You know, I just happened to get one for Father's Day, and I was just 2 months before Father's Day when I started. So that worked out. So I'd say when you're just getting started, my best recommendation on Etsy would be to split your time 50-50 between evergreen designs, which are things that could sell anytime throughout the year. So mom shirts, dad shirts, teachers, nurses, pickleball, you know, like anything that could sell anytime. And the other half should be what's going to be selling 6 to 8 weeks from now. So a holiday, appreciation day, a season. So if you're starting right this second, again, it's not too late for Christmas. There's New Year's. We've got Valentine's Day coming up. So doing about 50-50 with those, I think would be a good place to get started. And we all have different amounts of time that we can put into this. But I would say to have an expectation that you probably will need to list 50 to 100 things in your Etsy store to really get it going, especially if you've never designed before in your life. It's just going to take you time and repetition and research to learn how to sell on Etsy and what actually works well. But I don't know what your guys' opinions are.
On Etsy, I agree, but again, it also depends on the niche and on the marketing, because I've seen people who start off with Etsy with, you know, 5 products, maybe not print on demand, but maybe do like when they do like the printable planners of like very much deep printable planners, not like a planner that is like an A4 page and that's it, but like it's like an actual stack of like planners for all the year and stuff like that. So I've seen people succeed with 5 products, but they bring in the traffic from outside. So it's much dependent on, if you want to get traffic from a marketplace, you're going to have to play by the rules of a marketplace and show the marketplace that you're serious. If you're bringing your own traffic from the outside, it doesn't matter if you have 1 product or 1,000. It matters your marketing, and that's it. And I've always been the less is more. Like, spend a lot more time doing Pinterest, doing Facebook groups, doing emails, doing this, rather than designing products and uploading them.
Someone asking, do you think ornaments are too much competition? It seems like everyone is doing ornaments. So I personally
everyone is doing t-shirts also, and
yeah.
mugs and hoodies and everything, and lines.
I've spent extremely little time listing ornaments this year, and I'm still getting sales from the new ornaments that I've listed. Like very, very low input. Usually it takes me more input to sell t-shirts than it does ornaments. They are custom ornaments, which helps, I guess, but I don't think they're too saturated. And what I've started to list, for example, is like dog related. It's not necessarily like a low competition topic, right? So I don't think so. What do you think, Cassiy?
No, absolutely not. I think ornaments are an awesome product. And, you know, as much as people say that like shirts are even oversaturated, like I would challenge you to do your own research. You know, you can take our opinions all you want, but all the answers that you need, if you're selling on Etsy especially, are right on Etsy. You know, if you use a software like Everbee, you can search for something like ornaments. You can filter all of the search results using Everbee, and then you can sort them by stores that are less than 6 months old, or by listings that are less than 1 month old. And I want you to go see the proof for yourself that brand new listings on Etsy are succeeding crazy. Like I was just looking at an ornament yesterday from a newer store, and it has sold, I think, 300 times in its first 2 months. I saw another one that sold, I think, 500 times in its first 2 or 3 months. I saw one yesterday that had sold like 30 times its first month. I know I had a listing that I posted 2 weeks ago that's already sold 10 times in a random, really specific ornament niche. I think there is So much opportunity, but you have to add value in some way. Personalization's a really great option, or put a niche on an ornament that isn't already. One of my favorite things to do on Etsy is look at things like greeting cards that are selling well, pillows, and take these things that you find out people are looking for, like a gift for a coworker or a gift for your boss, or like some really specific thing that people are looking for gifts for these people, and be the first one to put a funny saying on an ornament. It doesn't have to say Johnson Family Christmas to sell an ornament. People buy ornaments with the craziest niches on them. Like I saw one selling this week for like the Northern Lights, you know? So I think there is so much opportunity in all of the different products if you add value, but ornaments especially, I think, are a great place to be.
Was that Northern Lights one? Was it just a design or was it customizable?
It was just a picture of the Northern Lights and that was it.
Okay, nice.
Like especially
statements like anything motivational or anything like, because I have some ornaments at home, even though I don't celebrate Christmas. So I have ornaments that I was mostly getting just to create like some segments on the wall that has these like little art pieces that go together. So I have like, you know, love yourself more, gratitude will save your life. I have a lot of it. I even have like some Bible quotes on those. So for me, the whole thing about ornaments is that it was never about a holiday. It was always like, to me, it was always like a small home decor item more than anything else. And I feel like I had a friend who did something similar to that a few years ago, and she didn't call it the ornament shop. She just called it small art or something like that. And that was the whole purpose of it. So if you think about it, if you take the ornament and like remove the ribbon and just put like 3 nails on the wall and stack 3 of them on top of each other with different messages, you have a small little art piece. So I feel like there is not too much competition for ornaments. If there is too much competition for everything. And I don't think ornaments, I just think if you do, again, what you said, Johnson's first family, whatever, if you just do what everybody else is doing, then that's the competition. It's not about the competition about the ornaments. It's a competition about the design of the ornament.
And there's always new styles too, you know, even in like the baby's first Christmas ornaments, you could get into that as a brand new seller with just like a different play on it, a different style, something updated that's popular this year. Like 2 years ago, people weren't selling birth flower anything. And now birth flower stuff is absolutely taken over.
Flower.
So it's like your birth stone, except you have a birth flower. So each month has 2 different flowers.
Do you know what is the birth flower of June? I'm finding like new information here now.
I don't know June's because that's not my birth month, but you have 2. You have 2.
What is your birth month, by the way?
Mine's July.
June birth flower. July what?
July 20th is my birthday.
Oh, you're Cancer.
Yeah.
Same.
Even if you change it with the 13-month thing, I'm still a Cancer. So.
So mine is rose and honeysuckle. I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh my gosh! I can't believe you haven't seen it. It is taken.
Well, it's good that it's rose because Bulgaria is the land of roses.
Perfect.
So I guess I'm living in the right place. What is your birth flower?
Yeah, Philip, what's your birth flower? Mine's a larkspur. Is the one I know.
What?
A larkspur. I didn't even know what it was, so I looked it up. It's like a long
larkspur?
Little purple flowers that come off of it. It's a pretty flower.
Oh, it is pretty. It's called it's delphinium.
Yeah, like for Christmas last year, I got my mother-in-law a blanket with a bouquet of all of her kids' and grandkids' birth flowers on it. So like that kind of stuff. So it's like if you didn't know birth flowers were a thing, they weren't really a couple of years ago. No one talked about birth flowers. So it's like there's always new popular things that come out. So it's not like there's ornaments that were posted 5 years ago and that's all that's ever going to sell. Like there's new styles, there's new trends all the time. Like there's always going to be space for you here. But yeah, put your birth flowers in the chat. That's fun. Go look.
We actually have, if you look at the chat right now, we have like July 19th, July 4th. So we have some Cancers here.
Yours are those as well.
What is your birth month?
I'm November. I can't even pronounce my flower.
When is your birthday? What do you mean you're November? When's your birthday?
27th.
Oh, it's almost your birthday. Happy birthday in advance.
Your birth flower is
Thank you.
Chrysanthemum.
I and peonies. I don't know either of them.
It's called a chrysanthemum. A chrysanthemum.
Of course, whatever you said.
Chrysanthemum. All right.
You say the first one and I'll say peonies.
Someone else's daffodils. So yeah, I think ornaments are not oversaturated for sure. Again, there's always different trends. Like one that sold super well was the solar eclipse. There was a few geniuses when the solar eclipse, the total solar eclipse earlier this year, there was a few listings that sold like 700 times in a month because people just wanted to commemorate the cool thing they experienced. And ornaments are a really great thing. So think of anything someone would want to commemorate from 2024 and put that on an ornament. So like the election could be a big thing. Things like the solar eclipse, or like everyone got to see the Northern Lights for the first time where I live this year, which is probably why that one sold well. So I think there's always space, is what I'm saying.
I remember, I think, what was it, a few years ago, where there was like this load of, I don't think it was just ornaments, but it was like this trend of designs celebrating getting divorced. Especially after you've like you've waited a long time, you know, when it was like a really bad marriage and everything. So there was like, they would do like, there were full like stores that were doing like divorce parties, like where you go out with your friends and you celebrate the fact that you finally got divorced. Obviously, I'm not saying if it's good or bad, but like, you know, if you were in a very bad relationship and you did. So I do remember seeing these on ornaments, my first Christmas finally single or something like that, which is like, I feel like it's like the complete opposite of what anyone would think to design. And I think that because of that, the minute that someone finds something that is so different from what everybody else is thinking, then they would like more likely want to buy it or see it on other products. But that was only on stores that was selling the same sentences on ornaments as they would on everything else.
Yeah. You know, there was one bestseller ornament that I saw last year, and it just had the t-shirt design that was really popular last year. That said like, everything is fine. I'm fine. You're fine. Everything's fine, with like tangled up Christmas ornaments, which was just the best selling shirt design. And it sold hundreds of times on an ornament. So it's like more stuff sells on ornaments than you think. But I also just saw that comment, Philip, that you put up. I can't believe you and Andreas are birthday twins.
Yeah, no way. What are the chances? We'll have to get you on for a live now. That's funny.
I know I saw another question in here that might be an interesting one from Jackie Brown. She says, it's a new seller for POD. What is one product that sells well? And I think this answer
product you design well.
I'd say this is maybe a controversial take, maybe not. I think everyone should start with shirts.
Why?
And I don't think that
shirts my first 4 years doing print on demand. I deactivated them on Redbubble even. I wasn't even activating them.
I think there is more demand for shirts than anything else anywhere. There's just so many people shopping. There's so many niches. I think it's the perfect place to learn. They sell every day, everywhere, every website. Everyone likes t-shirts. Like, it's like one of those simple, easy things that could sell anytime ever. I don't think it's the only product, but if I was going to pick one product, I'd do t-shirts or sweatshirts. Just to get started, because those design skills and learning what works on those can teach you the other products as well. But you guys feel free to give your opinions, because I know that's not what the advice that everybody would give.
If we have to choose like one,
just like what's one product that someone could get started with as a new seller? Yeah.
I'm conflicted between two: mugs and notebooks. I'm a big notebook girl, and I think it was like Wholesale Ted years ago when Printful started the notebooks with the dots, and she was like, I don't understand why they would put dots. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because people who like dotted notebooks, one, we already know that we're going to have to buy this online. 90% chance if you like dotted notebooks, especially a few years ago, you know that you're going to have to buy it online. There will not be a store for that, because they will not be in a store, and especially not with a design that you like. And people who are into journaling, which is the exact people who are looking for the dotted notebooks, spend a lot of money on notebooks. And not just that, the minute they find a notebook that they ordered online that they liked, they are very likely to go to the same supplier and order 5 more just in case they will not find that store again, because they know and I feel like the marketing for notebooks, because that has been always easy for me, is just make a few notebook designs and then start blogging about journaling prompts to start your day. It's just so easy. And you know what you don't have to do when you sell notebooks? Talk about sizes. Have people want a refund because it itches, or it got ruined in the laundry, or this. I find notebooks to be the perfect thing. I also find if you look at a lot of people when they first buy from a store, if they've never experienced it before, they might want to go and buy 1 or 2 things to check if the size is correct before they make more orders. With items like notebooks as well as puzzles, they wouldn't. With puzzles, they might check the quality, but with notebooks, they wouldn't. They would just buy. They would look at what is the GSM count, because all the information is there, and that's it. If you know how to talk about a notebook in a language that Bujo lovers will understand, you're golden. I'm a notebooks.
It definitely sounds like you've got a competitive advantage there, like really deep into the.
No, but that's the thing, because I come from that world.
Yeah, and that's also a message I think to take away.
And anything with a cow on it.
What's in your world that you're really passionate about? Is there something where you've got an unfair advantage in a sense because you just know a lot more about it? That is often part of things you might want to consider selling. Someone actually said, I hate dotted notebooks. Well,
Printful also has the lined journals. I actually have both here. So they actually, I think I have notebooks from every single provider almost. If I look deeply, I even have Printify. I have notebooks from like every marketplace, every provider. I'm really into notebooks. So many Mume, yeah, everything is cows. Cows and notebooks. I have several cow notebooks, by the way.
I think you do have a point with selling what you know too. Like I know there's a YouTube channel, Heather Studios, and she was trying to remember, an X-ray tech, I think is what she did before she quit her job, or a sonographer or something like that with X-rays. And I know one of her very biggest niches that she's ever sold in is the medical niche. She knows all these different random medical jobs, so it's like sell what you know. Like not everybody knows the particular things. Like if you play pickleball, you can come up with a lot more funny shirts that, people who don't play pickleball, they're just going to copy what everyone else comes up with. So, try. Like I know someone in my course community, they are in a particular thing, and I won't give it away. And there was no bestsellers. There was no ornaments for sale in this niche, but they posted it and someone just bought 200 of them this week because it was just like a really niche kind of random thing. And now they know, wow, people are really interested in buying for that niche, and they're going to double down and be the authority on Etsy for that random one thing. So, I think doing the research is really important and selling in things that are proven. But if there's something you're really passionate about, like cows,
it's not just passionate. It's also like, again, you said like you have the inside information, because I've seen like I'm selling a lot of coding t-shirts. If I'm looking at like TeePublic, I think like I have not done marketing for my TeePublic store in 2 years, and it's just selling on its own. It's either the coding t-shirts, the puzzle t-shirts, and I have like puzzle head jokes. I sold loads of phone cases that literally say like on the cover, not now, I'm playing Mahjong on my phone. Not now, I'm playing this on my phone. Mahjong niche was sold a lot. And I feel like even with like Jewish holidays, that's like the biggest thing for me, because I see so many designs out there and I'm like, yeah, you don't know anything about that holiday. It's like me trying to design for Easter. I wouldn't know what to put on it, but like I literally see designs out there where people don't know what to write. And designing for what you do know, I think that my bestsellers in my Jewish niche are like literally like 2 or 3 words, text, black and white, because they're specific like verses or specific blessings. And that's something that someone who only knows the original meaning of it would know where to put it, because there are literally phrases in the Bible that should be on a mug, like specifically. The same thing, by the way, for a notebook. And I feel like you really have to understand the topic that you're doing rather than just obviously like experiment and go and have fun. But I think like t-shirts has always been the last thing that I've ever wanted to sell, because I never want like the whole like, what if someone doesn't like the quality? What if they don't like how it fits them? What if the size is too big, is too small? I feel like it's like that too many like emotional hangups to get over. Maybe on Etsy is different because people feel like they're buying from Etsy and they know that they will have Etsy customer support if something goes wrong. But when you're trying to sell it on your own store, I feel like these hangups almost or completely don't exist when it comes to products that are not wearable, and that the dimensions and the features could be explained right away, like a shower curtain. Also, bigger ticket items than t-shirts with potentially bigger margins. So
Interesting thing to consider, and it also reminds me of oh god, I'm jinxing his name now. Joe Roberts, right? He sells a lot of high ticket items. He's like known to t-shirts, and another benefit to that is you're going to have less competition, even if you were to go to a marketplace. Like, how many people are going to sell shower curtains compared to t-shirts? So there's pros and cons to all of it. But it's good to show. I think this is also a point of making these live streams, is like everyone's got a different story, and there's a different path to Rome with these things. It's not just like you have to do t-shirts.
I obviously agree that many people sell t-shirts. Even I apparently sell them, but I feel like, again, everybody would want a different starting point based on how we started on or what worked for us. Because I think it was 4 years on Redbubble before I decided to activate a t-shirt. And that was because I opened a YouTube channel and people told me to try and design t-shirts. I didn't even think about it.
T-shirts and apparel that I really believe in, because I think there is something to there being a lot of competition, but I think demand is also really important to look at. So one thing to consider, because I think what you're saying, Nate, I completely agree with. That t-shirts are not the end all be all. You can be successful with so many products. But the thing that I love about apparel is that you can list something for sale that says the word mama on it, and that's it. And it can sell 10,000 times this year. There are just so much more demand for these types of items. There's so few other types of products that you can get that kind of volume with in a short amount of time. And so I will tell people that I know that when you're new, you're like, I can't compete. It's too oversaturated. I've got to niche down and do like twin mom or like mom of 7 kids or like something random to get seen, but it's not true. You just have to add value. And if you can get a bestseller on a grandma shirt, on a mom shirt, a teacher shirt, and a nurse shirt, you can make so many more sales than with more niched down products. I'm not saying don't do both, because I think there is value in both of those things. But my very first bestseller on Etsy just said the word teacher on it, and that's it. Like, it can be that easy. And I think that people are intimidated by that. So just a reminder that like there is demand and you can just make money. You don't have to overthink it and try and niche super down or do some super, super obscure product to make sales. Like, there is room for you. I promise.
I think I had something similar. You said like you had this huge success with this one very simple thing. And I feel like that's coming from you saying, okay, let's dumb it down, make something simple, understand like the keywords, understand the colors that need to be visible, the mock-up. So for me, if I take it again, obviously to notebooks, the first time I started with Zazzle, I uploaded several notebooks and they became editor's choice by the platform very quickly. And these are actually notebook covers based on therapy, like how I did my notebooks after therapy sessions. And I explained why this notebook is aligned this way. Like, the cover it's a bit of a trick. I don't know if I want to reveal that, but it was just immediate. And the design was very basic. It was like just something that I thought that I would want. So maybe you saw someone like just wearing mama or something simple, or maybe you are a person that likes just a simple word on a t-shirt. And I agree, of course, those sell a lot. The ones that just have a statement. But again, I feel like it just has to come with the knowledge that you have, because what I did was also not that very complicated. It was just like a very simple trick and the design itself was incredibly basic. But I just think that it's just the way that people often think that it's too easy, or people think that it's too hard.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that it's both. It's easy, it's hard, it's simple.
Yeah.
Simple and easy are not the same things. And I just feel like print on demand is very simple. There are different starting points. There are different things you need to learn. There are different skills you might want to pick up on the way. It's very simple as a map, as a structure. It could be very difficult. It could take a long time. It can be this. But the actual map there, once you choose a direction, is very simple. But if you do mix up everything, if you think to yourself, oh, I'm going to do the one word text, and before you do all that research about what color the t-shirt should be, what exact color, you know, the text should be, what the markup should be, people say, oh no, you need complicated designs with at least graphics, and then you go to that thing. And then someone says, oh, you need to do Instagram, and you forsake the keywords idea, and you just move along with these, and you're kind of just trying to pick pieces off different maps, because they all start at the same point and they all end hopefully in success, but you just have to pick a road and stick to it. So if the road is, I'm making money from one word on a t-shirt, you're totally right. The colors you said, I had no idea that these are the colors that are happening on Etsy. I don't think I log into Etsy that much. But if you're going that road, focus on that. The word on the t-shirt doesn't matter. The consumerism psychology and the algorithm and the SEO, that's what matters. Or if you're going on a different road where what matters is Instagram Reels, or if you're going on a different road where what matters is designing something very extremely niche specific that someone will not find, or something that crazy that no one will find. But I just feel like everybody's trying to drive to different points when they're starting their journey, instead of just like going straight with something.
Going one direction.
The whole
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
is brilliant.
Shiny object syndrome at its finest. For the Amazon merch sellers out there, because we were just talking about products. So anyone who's watching,
we didn't even talk about Amazon merch this entire video.
No, we haven't. I mean, a lot of the principles also apply to that, but obviously you can't really submit an Amazon merch shop, so it never really comes up. But for those people, tumblers are selling really well for me, and there's a lot of people in my community who've started to list tumblers. And they seem like, at least from my opinion, they seem to have a lot more potential than the other home articles that merch offers, like the phone cases and the pillowcases, that kind of stuff. And yeah, the types of, just to give like a general overview, the types of designs so far that have sold a lot for me is obviously coffee related stuff. There's quite a lot of dog themed designs that sell. And I haven't even spent a lot of time sitting down necessarily like designing new stuff for tumblers. A lot of them are very similar to t-shirt designs, or they are literally t-shirt designs, just double-sided print on a tumbler. So if you're on merch and if you've got free slots, or you've got old listings where you can just enable the tumblers, I would highly recommend trying it for, especially now when people are looking for gifts a lot more.
I sell quite a few tumblers, just not on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, see.
I love tumblers because again, it's a product that no one needs to measure or fit.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I think we've been going for long enough. Thanks to everyone who joined this live. It was really fun. Thanks for submitting.
We're almost 3 hours in.
Yeah, almost. Might be the longest one. Thanks to everyone who submit stores as well, or submitted stores. And we'll be back in hopefully 2 to 3 weeks.
Say it like the Terminator. We'll be back.
We'll be back. I mean, that's the way she'd end.
It's my instinct when someone says "I'll be back" or "We'll be back." It's my instinct. It's like, say it like the Terminator.
Yeah.
And my husband Brent wants to say hi to you.
Okay.
He just said hi. That's all.
Oh
Yeah,
no! Come on, you can show up on camera.
Yeah, come on camera, Brent. Say hello.
This is why
Brett.
people watch the lives.
This is my husband's YouTube debut.
Oh man.
Oh wow! Seriously? I would never marry someone that wasn't on my channel like 50 million times.
Hello. How are you doing, Brett?
Hey, how's it doing?
Hello.
Nice to see you again.
Today. And everyone live on YouTube. But yeah, this was so fun. Thank you so much for having me, Philip. It was so great to meet you today. And thank you to everyone watching. I hope you guys got a ton of value. This has been super fun. And hopefully I can join for some more lives in the future.
I feel like we all forgot the stress of the merger.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. Do you remember that Printify and Printful are merging?
No big
Like
deal.
yesterday.
Someone's worried about that.
This is like a segue to the people who just joined the live for them to like scroll back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is what we talked about for the first like 45 minutes. So if you guys want to rewatch this, once it's over, you can watch the replay.
You can
Someone
always
said
watch
Shelby has a great beard, Brent.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I should have called Misha here, my ex. He's in an apartment down below. He's waiting for me to finish the live to bring up some stuff. But also he's like, yeah, it's very bearded.
Game. Okay, I've got to catch up. All right. We'll be back. and we'll see you in a few weeks. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Ciao. Bye.